Welcome, welcome, welcome to Dope Check episode 19 with the N8 GOAT, Ace the Stocksman, Tactical Rab, and the EU GOAT, Trey Zero. Boys, Rab, a lot of happening this week. We got some bombshells today. How we feeling? What's going on? Let's get into it. Rab, how you feeling, bro?
Absolutely sensational as always. What a day. Just when we thought, okay, it's been a decent weekend of CDL games. We got some storylines. Bang. Roster change drops on our doorstep 1 hour before we go live, at least according to rumors. Possibly the worst stint of any player in a full-time capacity in the league. We've got some things to dive into today. Trey's ready for it.
Trey?
Am I? Listen, I wasn't expecting this bombshell. I thought we was at least gonna, give it. Gotta get your first win under the board, didn't you? Surely they let him get one, but no, they didn't. A lot of bombshells. It's never just a normal week of matches. We can never just have something normal. We could have an hour and a half session to dope check, but no, we'll see you guys here 3 hours later. Lock yourselves in, strap yourselves in. It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Absolutely. Let's start off simple. Let's start off with something, some other news that is a little interesting as well before we get into the spice and the dice. Before we get into that, though, like, comment, subscribe. Please make sure you guys support the video and do what you got to do before we hop in. And so more dope checks come out, more support. Let's keep it going. Guys, the Esports World Cup was announced. 30 teams. Some really notable ones for us, part of the COD community. FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, G2, KOI, Falcons. So Ultra Rocker, LA Thieves, FaZe, and the EU Challengers Team Falcons from Saudi Arabia are all going to be involved in this Esports World Cup. First reactions, Rab, Trey, whoever wants to take it. How are we reacting to this?
Bro, what games are we bringing into the mix here, right? Because, I mean, they've confirmed a load of games. There were rumors that they were going to do COD of some sort or another. It wouldn't be like COD as we know the CDL. It would be something else. It might be like 2 pros, 2 AMs or something in some sort of tourney. I know that it's been talked about for a little while now. Of course, the elephant in the room is where's OpTic, right? I mean, we've got FaZe, we've got C9, we've got all the legacy big brands, of which many are notable. Especially because OpTic they've been partnering with this, right? Like, we've had Scump talking about it. We've had Scump promoting the Esports World Cup. We've had Hex and the guys talking about it on the podcast. So you think it was kind of a no-brainer that they'd be getting involved here. So I'm not exactly sure how that's occurred. Just because we've seen, I don't know, OpTic are an interesting org, right? Because they've scaled down some of their esports operations elsewhere. Did they drop? I'm pretty sure they dropped their Apex team, right? Something like that anyway. Maybe it was Rocket League, I don't know. But they're basically just COD and Halo at this point. No Valorant, no CS. So maybe that's why they're not here. Don't know. Bit strange to me.
Trey?
I'm intrigued. I did see it get announced. Yeah, the COD thing. I don't see anything. Our COD thing coming into it. I assume they'll do something with the most popular stuff with COD. That's all it is, really, and it just blowing it up, getting as big as it can be. So if it is COD, I can probably only assume Warzone, to be honest with you.
A good shout. Yeah, maybe a Warzone side of it. It's more popular than competitive COD, but it does seem that this Esports World Cup is a competitive-based format from what we see. We also have this interesting response from Chris here that says that OpTic could potentially, there's open spots, but they might not have been accepted since they're only in 2 or 3 esports. This is what he quotes. Of the 30 teams in the club support program, 8 joined through an open application process earlier this year. The foundation judged over 150 applicants based on 3 criteria: past competitive success, strategy and goals for the future, and approach to fan engagement and content. So OpTic may have shot themselves in the foot for exactly what Rab is saying here. Maybe it might be that they're just not involved in esports across the board enough in comparison to a lot of these orgs. It would be beautiful to see COD represented, though. We have to be up there, right? Top 5 esports at least, right? Or am I tripping? Top 5? Are we top 10?
You're tripping on top 5 for sure.
Top 5 might be a push, unfortunately. Top 10, I feel like we can make a case. Okay, let's just go through the list real quick. We've got CS. We've got League of Legends. We've got Dota. We've got Valorant. That's 4.
Rocket League.
Rocket League's bigger than COD? I don't think Rocket League's bigger than COD.
Rocket League's way bigger than COD Esports.
Chad, is that
Rocket League
true?
Probably bigger than COD. Like, I was gonna say Apex next, although I'm not sure. I guess Apex does probably count. There's, I mean, there's also like other variations of League of Legends. There's like the mobile shit that gets loads of viewers. Rainbow Six, I mean, maybe.
R6 popping now because of Jinxie, but I'm pretty sure it probably would have been even bigger than COD. Like COD is very on its it's on its
probably
ass. I'll be honest
Apex.
with you.
On its back foot. On its back foot for sure.
I think we could be borderline top 5, especially in North America. Like, we're easily top 5.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it feels like it more here just because we're in the NA. But if you went outside of this, went internationally, then yeah, the case is very, very small.
I mean, and then you got the fighting games too, like Tekken and what's the other one like?
Oh, Street Fighter, Tekken,
yeah,
Super
Street
Smash,
Smash,
or whatever.
yeah, Smash, all that. I don't know. It's gonna be great. Hopefully we get some more involvement in the COD scene and we do get something COD related. Is there a date attached to this or no?
We're battling with Halo.
Oh yeah, we are battling with Halo, which is sad.
Halo might even overtake us.
Tough
Trey, what do you
scenes.
think? Esports World Cup, X-Define World Championship coming soon?
Hey, I'm not trying to say it, but listen, when I win my first event on there, everyone's fucked. I'm a talk my shit.
All that money that Red Reserve AE is going to be nothing compared to this 5 million bag you're going to win.
Oh yeah, and FIFA Esports. Yeah, we might be top 15.
Oh my god. All right.
FIFA Esports? Nah.
Speaking of top 15, we had an argument on the TL. We had who was better in their prime, right? This is an interesting argument that came up, and I'm very curious to see what the chat thinks, what you guys think about all this. So it's a heated discussion between Scrap and ZooMaa about who was better in their prime. Prime Scrap, which I guess is right now, or maybe last year. I don't know. Start of this year, maybe. I don't know exactly. Last year, this year. I don't know. Prime ZooMaa, probably AW ZooMaa. I think most would agree with that. AW ZooMaa. Let's hear the discussion, the argument. It's 4 minutes. Let's just get a
Play
little
like
bit
2
into it.
minutes.
Yeah,
Play the
yeah.
first like 2-ish.
We'll get a little bit just into their back and forth and chat. Let us know what you think. Give us your opinions. Very curious to see how everyone reacts to this.
I have any brother, my prime is better than any prime you've hit so far. So you got a few more years. We'll see if you can hit. You can get to where. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wait,
yes,
chat.
it was.
Who do we think? Who's had a higher peak so far?
I am better than you, I promise you.
Or Prime Scrap? What's better?
100%.
I am better than you.
Prime ZooMaa or Prime Scrap?
That is such a fit. And people don't say prime zoom over prime. So they just didn't watch. They just didn't watch. But they just didn't watch.
Bro, you cannot do what I do with both guns. And the sniper.
Playing the
And
high school gap COD against the best players in the world.
bro, what do you mean? The best players in the world are playing now. The best players in the world play now.
Making it look easy.
I don't give a what anyone's chat has to say.
We were playing against the Dynasty, bro. Like, I don't know if you could beat the Dynasty.
Bro, okay, yeah, you're right.
No fucking idea. You're playing. Look at what you're playing. You're playing. Shit, I can play this game with my
Okay, you played the Dynasty, right? You played the Dynasty.
balls.
You played the Dynasty, then you played then you played 13-year-olds at 10 in the morning. So I don't want to hear it. You literally played 13-year-olds your first 4 rounds of the tournament, okay?
Brother,
You played about 2 good teams.
Players to ever play.
Oh, probably about 3 teams that were actually good.
Brother, what the do you think you're playing? It's a 3 good teams. It's 4 good teams. Hey, you
Bro,
got
I
this
promise-
shit now too,
bro.
so it's like 2 good teams.
Okay, so the bottom teams, I promise you, are better than the teams that played in your era.
Brother, are you
Tommy,
They'll smoke every team in your era.
Brother,
in your era.
the league now is watered down to 48 people. Back in the day, everybody was in that bitch. It
Yeah,
didn't
and they
matter.
were all dog shit.
That whose problem is that? Everybody, Scrap, you're gonna sit here and tell me you're not playing people who are shit.
I never said that. I never said that.
Okay, what are we
But
talking about?
but
What are you talking
the
about?
people in the league now are better than the people back then.
The more punishing it's gonna be. Like
Brother, you're playing dog
what do we
shit.
think?
You're
Bro,
playing against
you
dog
literally
shit.
played plumber. Like when I mean like plumbers as a joke. Like no, I'm dead serious. They literally go into their 9 to 5 job before the fucking match started.
They weren't plumbers. There was a lot of
Bro, they literally just were under a sink fixing the
Play
pipe
the
before.
last like 15 seconds of this as well.
The literal end of it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Respectfully, they were fucking ass.
Give me more.
Oh,
names.
let's go. All right, Neslo and Goonjar. Respectfully, they were fucking ass.
Okay, so what's your overall point that you're trying to make? What's your overall point?
Well,
Goonjar
this
was
was
actually
wait. This
goat.
was
Goonjar
stemming
was
from
goat
like
back in the day.
who's better. It's definitely me over you.
Okay. Goonjar catching a wild stray at the end of that for no reason.
Good shows in the replies as well.
Yeah, like, where is he? Damn, why am I catching strays back in the day as a shooter on God?
I'm gonna be real. That take is so faded. The league now is by far probably the worst league we've had in the CDL.
Okay.
in terms of teams. Like you look at Vanguard, at least people were like fighting back, a few upsets here and there. We don't even watch we don't even watch any of the games now when the top 4 teams play because we know who's winning. And then even further back in the day, there was way more upsets. I wouldn't say we were playing plumbers either.
Rabbi, you take it. Or let me cook. I'll cook. So it's like this, man. Like, if you're talking about respectfully, like Call of Duty 4 days, like Call of Duty 4, MW2, right around past that, I would say MW3, BO1, right around there is when you actually start to get the kids that weren't 9 to 5 and starting to come into the scene, who were just from high school, from middle school, playing COD, and that's all they did, and they were obsessed with it, and they kept playing it. So I actually disagree with the whole plumber argument. I think there was a point, definitely, when it was people like who in today's world would not shoot back. But Tommy's era, ZooMaa's era, is not the area that should be referenced here. That's the wrong era.
I think Black Ops 4 is probably the most competitive game we've had in terms of teams, players, and everything like that.
Yeah, and pretty balanced across the board. There's a lot of talent.
That's when the Simp and Abizi came through. That's when my phase team was at the top. Like we were the best respawn team in the game at one point. You had 100 Thieves. You had like I couldn't even go Gen G. Then you had that Midnight team. Like bro, we're talking serious shooters, serious teams that would upset people. Nowadays, I don't even watch the CDL when OpTic, FaZe, or like the top 4 teams play. Maybe not New York. They give me a bit of entertainment here and there, but with the top 3 teams, I don't even watch because they just slam them. The league right now is by far worse than any comp year I've seen. Respectfully. because no one can tell me I'm wrong if I say respectfully.
I think there's an argument to say, because let's say when OpTic won the World Championship in Infinite Warfare, Former ladder 1.44 kind of famously over the tourney. He was carrying about a 1.7 by the time they got to the bracket because he was playing some questionable strength teams in the first round. And that's kind of how it was. Now, to be fair, then there was 32 teams. Are the 12th best team back then better than the 12th best team today? It's the classic prime versus prime argument across eras that is incredibly difficult to come up with. Like, is Scrappy a better individual player than his equivalent was back then, in the same way that like LeBron is like a stronger, mechanically better player than Jordan was, hypothetically, although comparing the relative greatness is difficult to do. The example that I always talk about is chess because it's quite interesting. Like Magnus Carlsen, the greatest player of today, is by the metrics the strongest chess player of all time. Like he is the GOAT by the metrics in terms of the pure quality of play. Carlsen's the best. But all of that knowledge has been layered on top of generations of great chess players. So comparing Carlsen to Kasparov is very challenging. Carlsen's a stronger player, but Kasparov dominated his era for like 25, 30 years and was by far the best in the world by an absolute mile. So that's a difficult conversation to have. It's the same thing across eras in all sports. And what I find entertaining is that you'll get some players in any sport that come with a lot of respect. There's certain golfers, there's certain, Formula One drivers. They watch all the greats. They watch the Fangios, the Sennas, the Schumachers, the Hamiltons, all their great races. And there's some drivers that come in convinced that those other guys were shit and they are the new top dog and that their level is higher. And that's basically what Scrappy thinks. And I kind of respect that mindset as well. There's some players that come in with a lot of respect for their veteran players in the scene that built up to where we are. And there's some players that just have little respect and they think that they're the best because they're playing at a higher level than those guys were. And maybe there's some truth to that. It's not personally the mindset that I adopt.
I mean, I just think, I was just going to say, I think like Scrappy's point of saying like the bottom teams would beat like the bottom teams in, he's basically saying the bottom teams in the CDL would beat the bottom teams in like the old era with ZooMaa and stuff like that, which I disagree, to be honest with you. Like I'm like the highest level of competition I've ever played since, and I've played throughout pretty much every single era that ZooMaa did, apart from last year and this year, pretty much. Black Ops 4, I will hold that, is the most competitive year of like COD and teams and everything like that we've had.
I'm also gonna.
This,
Go ahead.
this isn't even competition. It's OpTic, Phase, or Ultra.
I'm gonna add to the games back then were another factor to all this too. I don't think many teams would have a lot of success in a very traditional, classic capture the flag World War II. I think you'd have a lot of struggles with some of these teams to even understand the strategy of how to play capture the flag properly. A lot of these younger COD players don't know how to play COD properly, which is why the bottom teams specifically, I think, would have a lot of trouble going in the past and even trying to play those games. Like if old COD pros got together, if the Dynasty got back together just for fun, for a tourney, and they played, let's say, Boston Breach of today, or whoever you want to say, from today's bottom 8 teams, I think they would smoke them in any of the old games. They'd smoke them in Black Ops 4, World War II, just because the strategy was, it also took more knowledge. Consider, too, in the past, there was no codcaster, there was no film. People couldn't watch their gameplay back. So people had to learn. The best teams were the best because they learned the game through just knowing what happened.
I didn't watch VOD back in the day.
There was no VOD back in the day, exactly. There literally wasn't VOD for a lot of the time.
And Black Ops 4, I think I didn't even watch VOD in Black Ops 4. World War II, I didn't watch VOD on none of that. We just spawn in the game and shoot your gun.
Shoot your gun and learn what happened. Figure out what happened. Yeah, it's a different
legit.
era. But last thing specifically on Scrap and ZooMaa, I want us to address this question. If it doesn't get us in too much trouble, who knows? But in their primes, which Scrap, we don't know if this is his prime, but is Scrap better than Prime ZooMaa? It's hard. They're different roles too, so it kind of makes it tough. But like, what do we think here? Specifically on the question of who's better, Scrap or ZooMaa? Chat, put it in the chat. Scrap or ZooMaa? Put it in the chat right now.
Naturally skilled, Scrap.
Okay.
I think it's actually quite tough to say. I kind of want to compare to that time frame what players were in that position, because Scrap is probably the best AR in the game right now. And he's up against a lot of other talented guys. ZooMaa was in his prime for a time the best sub in the game, but Scump was probably better over the course of that entire year. I also think that it gets skewed somewhat by the games we play today, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Hitch held that tournament last year, the Black Ops 2 throwback tournaments, right, that they run, the pros go and play them and they look shit compared to today because the game is harder. Like there's, less aim assist. Pros are actually missing shots. And you compare that kind of gameplay, and I can maybe understand why Scrappy watches old gameplay from like Advanced Warfare, where there was not much aim assist and the movement was crazy. And like, damn, these guys are missing shots that I'd be hitting today. It's a different game. Like Scrap's shot looks unreal today, and because it is, but equally in ZooMaa's day, it was a different game that was being played.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this is I think Scrap is more naturally talented with gun skill, just because that's what we see. Maybe recency bias too, because obviously I haven't watched ZooMaa play in a while, of course, as well. But also you've got to understand is Tommy played an SMG role. Like, I feel like if you put Scrap in a Kleenex role, like he ain't gonna play as well, of course, but that's what Tommy used to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's also comparing those roles as well. Tommy was by far one of the best subs in the game at one point, especially when I played him on Phase 2. I never played with Tommy before. Like, I've only ever seen him play. And then when I played him on Phase, I realized how good he actually was. So I think Scrap is probably more naturally talented in gun skill wise. But with Tommy being as good as he was with one of the hardest roles in the game at some points, like you've got to add that on top of just straight up raw skill too.
The last thing I want to add before we jump, I want to jump to that BigTymeR clip, OpTic BigTymeR clip, but I want to add to the COD has been really infiltrated by many people who think gun skill is so easy to have today. Standard, linear, dynamic. It's 3 keywords, my boys and girls in the chat. Standard, linear, dynamic. Put every pro on standard, I guarantee you the game looks different.
For every pro in World War II, I guarantee you some of that won't be. Never mind.
So, yeah, it's kind of sad, though. Like, people like Dashy, for example, where he was snapping and looking as insane as he is on standard. But now everyone kind of looks like that because we're on dynamic. It's like the skill gap has kind of went down quite a bit for proper raw gun skill.
That's when Dashy became one of my favorite players of all time, when he tweeted out, if dynamic weren't a thing, there wouldn't be some pros. And honestly, that made me so happy because the people that play now that didn't play professionally back then don't understand how hard it was to shoot compared to now.
Yeah, yeah. Let's watch this BigTymeR clip. Speaking about the old heads.
I'll answer this one. I like this question.
Let me turn this up a little bit. There we go.
I'm going to say anyone that retired before Black Ops 2. It's like we lost a generation of talent. And if I get to see one more list, a greatest Call of Duty players of all time list, made from anyone who doesn't understand what all time means, I'm going to blow a fucking gasket. Because it is not easier to play in any era, in anything. You are always competing at a ceiling. And even though, objectively speaking, the ceiling gets higher, it doesn't mean it's any easier to play at the lower ceiling. It's always pushing against the ceiling. So I'm trying to make an apples to apples comparison. I like baseball. No one in their right mind ranks Bryce Harper or Shohei Ohtani over Babe fucking Ruth in a greatest baseball players of all time list. Even though, objectively speaking, they're probably playing the game at a higher level because the game has evolved, but they stacked on top of the people that came before them. Motherfucker, my electrician knows more about electricity than Thomas Edison, but I do not think he's smarter than Thomas fucking Edison.
That's a great video. It's a great way to put it. It kind of goes into the points that were made, like the eras of COD, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whatever sport you want to put, however you want to apply this. Eras matter. Context matters. So you really got to look at it in that way.
It's such an interesting perspective of Big T. Like, I think I can't explain his point better than he explains it.
Yeah.
On the you're always competing against the ceiling. I think that's an eloquent way of putting it. People may disagree with that, but I think that that argument is well constructed. And it's impossible to say, right? Like, I think about this in Formula One. People are trying to compare, people can compare Verstappen and Hamilton maybe because they're kind of they're driving at the same time. But to compare Hamilton to Schumacher, to compare Schumacher to Senna, or to Fangio, it's not even possible. They're driving different cars, different eras. Like Jim Clark, they're driving cars in totally different ways, the way they're sliding them around corners, completely different eras in terms of everything that was possible, the safety features. Like
ZooMaa was gunning Scump on the standard with hardly any aim assist.
Exactly, brother.
So was I as well. Maybe none. Don't forget me.
NV4. Ooh.
The one addition.
UK formal apparently.
One addition I want to add here too is this argument too is why I think this is an argument I have for Scump versus Crim6, and this goes deep, right? But one reason why people can argue that Scump is more talented than Crim is that he played longer, and against all competition, that span of jumping from era to era to era to even the modern era and shooting above a 1.0 is one of the reasons why I think Scump could be considered the greatest, beyond just being great himself. The era argument for some players, because they played so long, supports their talent, their greatness, and their legacy in that sense. Clayster, for example, is a counter argument in a sense. He's played for a very long time, but we've kind of seen a gradual decline towards playing against this modern era. So I like Big T's argument. I think that's one of the reasons why the tenured players who are still doing it to this day is so impressive. It's beyond impressive to be doing it in different eras. Yeah. Did we watch? I think we watched this scrap clip about teaming with a 26-year-old pro. Did we watch this?
Did we watch this on Friday? I don't know. Play it again anyway because it's funny.
I bet. I bet.
You were running Vanguard, bro.
Adam, like I said, Adam Assault had 125 fever, and that's the last time I'll ever play with a 26-year-old. So.
Jesus.
And another thing is
that's the last time I played with a 26-year-old.
and then Javi gave up my front door.
In 27.
Yeah, no, Dylan, you're chalk. Dylan, you're chalk.
Bro, what?
No.
Bro, they get sick easier. Like,
There's no way you're saying 26-year-olds get
I
sick
just can't.
easier.
I can't with that, bro.
No way. People's immune systems.
Dude, you should have seen him, bro. You should have seen him. He was dead. He was literally dead. I looked over. He was dead.
I looked over. He was dead. What do we think? Trey, is this true to this? All their players are,
I mean,
are
Trey,
shittier?
how old?
Well, I'm
Who's
just looking at
Trey?
I'm looking at Insight's age. He's got roughly about 2 years before Scrap drops him on his head. So, listen, I love Scrap.
Stupid.
Because obviously, you know, if Simp's 26 years old, still gunning, he's obviously going to play with Simp, isn't he? But I love Scrap because he is hilarious. Like, actually hilarious. Probably the worst take of all time.
It's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there with saying a 26-year-old healthy human. Yeah. Now, listen, he's saying they get sick easy. Well, I'll say this to you. A lot of gamers don't actually take care of themselves. That's why they get sick easy. They don't take vitamins. They don't eat the right shit. That's why they get sick easy. It's not because they're 26 years old. Fucking giving us a bad name. Like, I'm trying to compete in X-Defiant, Scrap. Give me a fucking break right there, buddy. Jesus Christ.
You basically should just go to the fucking retirement home at that point.
Yeah.
It's all over for you.
Sorry.
If he sat there and said, "Oh, I'm not playing with Clay when he's 35," like, yeah, that's a bit of a different story. 26 is a good fucking age.
Isn't his girlfriend like 29?
Yeah, but he's not team with her. He's team with her in life, not in COD.
That's true. That is true. It's different.
We should get okay.
Hang on, I'm trying to find out
Who's
Atlanta
the best
fits.
players at 26 and above, basically, right now?
Yeah.
How old Simp?
Let
How
me
old
see.
Abizi? That's really all we need to know. Like, how old Simp, Abizi, Cell?
Well, like his best boy Dashi, he's 25 now. He's got one more year until he ain't teaming with.
Wait,
Dashi
it's
anymore.
Intel, Rab. It's Intel, basically.
Abizi's 24.
That's what you mean.
You see what I mean? It's Intel, basically. What? Hey, guys, put on your tinfoil hats really quick and join me on this journey, okay?
Bro, how is Simp 23, by the way? It's a joke.
That guy's
That
got
is a joke.
That guy got 5 more years of just pissing and slamming
Abizi's
everybody.
a year older because he was like he
Abizi's-
came 1 year before.
Yeah,
didn't he?
How is
24.
Draza 22?
It is a joke.
How old
isn't it?
Cell, bro? Just get me Cell. How old Cell, bro? That's
He came in Black Ops 4.
That's
So
the
he must be
23.
Jesus
23,
Christ.
Yeah.
Yo, they are
Oh,
slamming.
So chalked.
It's not looking good. But tinfoil hats,
You
boys and
still
girls.
got it, Trey. Don't worry.
Tinfoil
You're an old
hats.
man, but
Tinfoil hats, ready?
Uh,
Dashi is turning 26 next year. Scrap's contract is likely up at the end of this year and next year. If he won't team with a 26-year-old again, does that mean he wouldn't team with Dashi? Dun, dun, dun. I don't know, guys. Tinfoil hats. That's all I got to say. There might be something to this.
bro.
Yeah, leaks.
I walk so Cell could run. That's one thing I will say. I walk so Cell could run.
You're 26, right?
Depends what day I wake up, really.
depends who's asking, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I think Scrap.
If you're asking, 26.
There we go. I like that.
If it's a female at a bar, clean shaven, 23.
There we go. Handsome lad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it stunning. I don't know. I think Dylan Attach is probably one of the best examples when he's 27. He is for 2 stages dropping like a 1.15, 1.2 basically. I think it's a shit example overall. Scrap needs to lock in and stop making these brain dead takes all around. But speaking of brain dead, speaking of some teams that are brain dead, should we jump into some matches? It's about time, or do we miss anything? It's time for some matches.
I think it's about time. There is one more piece of drama. I'll just link this to you because
Go ahead.
New York are getting cooked today for
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
dropping their academy team or something. I don't know if you're seeing this, but there's a couple of tweets going around.
Let's peep.
Let me just find one more real quick. This one from the rotation, actually. Yeah, here you go. A couple of tweets about this. It seems like, going into the Toronto Major, New York could just drop their academy roster on their neck. That's pretty rough.
They've canceled.
It is pretty.
Oh, sorry, go
pretty
ahead.
crazy. I was gonna say this is pretty crazy. All because of a roster change. They've cancelled the flights. They don't even know if they got a team pass anymore.
What is this? Wait, what? The Hamza roster change? Which that one? What roster change
So
happened?
this is the team of Mock, Mamba, no mentions. It's like, isn't it the shit that they've been getting people to vote on? Am I wrong about that? Like on their website, their academy team basically.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. So they made. You're saying they made a roster change and then they just pulled everything from them because of a roster change. Is that what you're saying, Trey?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay, yeah,
What?
interesting.
Purgy just put in the chat. MOSL dropped their academy team 9 days before the major due to them needed one player to substitute for Craze, which resulted into basically the NYSL academy just pulling out altogether. Maybe I'm only thinking maybe they just can't be bothered with the fucking bullshit of challenger rosters just changing in and out every single day.
And Subliners though seem like, I mean, they've been a very high standing org, doing a lot of like community involvement, doing right by their players, their coaches. They've been pretty high, like a good upstanding citizen of the community. It's kind of weird. I feel like there might be more to this story that we don't know, just because it seems so out of the blue. It can't just be like they pulled everything 9 days. There has to be something, I think, missing that we don't know yet.
Even the players tweet out they found out today too.
What the hell? I don't know.
I literally heard. I heard it's because they dropped the like they needed a substitute player and then they just thought they just withdrew it all.
I mean, if I'm New York, the only thing I can think of right now is if losing Craze is a good player, to be fair. He's a good player. So losing him, potentially they may have felt like the investment wasn't worth it and they weren't going to perform. But it's really messed up that we're basically a week out from Toronto. Anyone getting their rug pulled under their feet like this is very disrespectful. And I don't know. It just sounds so scummy. Sounds very scummy.
Purgy said, as far as the players tweeted, they said it was because Craze left to play with Varsity, so that's why the whole team got dropped, which kind of makes sense because in terms of being a professional organization like Subliners, who we know are like, pretty upstanding when it comes down to supporting the challenges scene and everything like that. And they just thought, well, what's the point? And to be fair, I'm not agreeing with what they've done. I'm just going to agree with Subliners in terms of it. Bro, respect to you for having an academy team, but what's the point? If not every other team's doing it, what's the point?
Yeah,
and I know it's such a I know it's such a shitty mindset, and I truly believe that we are as a league should have academy teams. I think that should be mandatory. Like if you want it to grow, if you want to see some sort of anything like that, like success or anything like that, you should have academy teams. But because COD's backwards, we don't.
We have an update right here. Go ahead, continue.
I was gonna say why should New York have an academy team if every other team doesn't have an academy team?
Yeah, that's a devil's advocate side, but it definitely is true. It definitely is. Like I'm gonna say also like the investment on it, booking flights, hotels for 5-6 days or 5 days basically. It's a lot of money to put into a team that I don't know what return you really get. That's super high. But this is an update we have. Over the weekend, one of our players breached their contract, left without permission, which essentially left us with three out of 4 players. We did not feel it would be realistic for us to get a proposal live and approved to sign a 4th player, organize travel, and have the team perform at a competitive level with only a week's worth of time. So it is kind of what we're saying. It is kind of like they just felt the investment wasn't going to be worth the squeeze, especially when you lose probably your most notable player being Craze, honestly. You lose him out. It's more of a business decision more than anything. But damn, man, it's just a bad look overall.
I mean, it is a bad look, but end of the day, I kind of agree with him. Like, but apparently, New York is making that team that they had buy the team pass off of them.
What? Where are you hearing this? Where you see that? In chat?
Mock tweeted it out. Mock tweeted out 53 minutes ago, making us buy the team pass after canceling our flights canceling our flights and the hotel is nasty work.
Is Mock DS? Is that his Twitter?
Yeah.
Team was getting max top 8 even online. We haven't talked about Asim yet, baby. We're going to be getting to that one.
We have a Asim conversation. We'll do during the matches, I think. Yeah.
We can probably just jump into the games. I don't know if we don't have enough information on this yet to.
Yeah, I just think it's like I said. I just think it's New York. Just it's a business decision. Ace. They can get all their money back or spend all their money or spend all the money.
Spend all the money on a team they don't believe in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shitty situation. Though. Yeah, shitty situation overall, but it's business, bro. Like it sucks, but it's business. Fuck.
They did just get 27 mil back too, so.
And then
You'd have thought they had the money to play with, but it's all good.
yeah,
They can give it to me to make new skit intro videos for them. We can do
they're
that.
they're prepping Hydra for his
Yeah.
fucking double, triples, mega, ultra max contract. That's what they're
They
doing.
might need to give him we might need to be pushing 7 figures. To
at
keep
this
him around
point,
this season.
God bless. All right, let's talk about some matches, boys and girls. Chat, thank you for being here. Let's get into some matches. Let's start with. I
had Miami up first.
Yeah,
just because I
Miami.
was going to go completed and I was going to think about it in order. Thought I'd let Trey say his piece on this Miami team. They played a couple of games this weekend. They got pissed on
like 'em.
after the map one against New York.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I don't
don't.
like him either.
I don't like them because I always vote for them to win, and when I do, they get piss slammed, and when I don't, they win. They don't piss slam, but they win. It does my head in. Could have been perfect, but they don't want me to be perfect. They still look pretty bad though. Let's be real.
They're fucking up your script, bro.
But they still look pretty bad as a team.
Yeah.
But they have got 2 wins. They got 20 points, but they still don't look like a good team.
They're just so insanely unpredictable. I just think I know you're going to get Vamonos COD, as you very eloquently put, but
Yeah,
Vamonos COD is defined by you never know what's going on. Like they can run around for 3 minutes, not communicate, not get a single trade, and get pissed on, or they can actually play as a team because they've got solid gun skill, and it works because they play at a high pace. It's basically what happened game 1, but then they bottled a rotation. Hydra took over. Kismet somehow snuck through the gaps, and it was chalked. And then they got pissed on the next couple of maps. Yeah, they Vamonos too hard. And then they play Surge, a team that's been on the up, but is, still not got the most firepower. And they take him down in 5 with a nice little icy high-rise Surge. I mean, Real has improved their team just because they have more firepower now than they previously did. And that's probably enough to win series like this, but it doesn't really move the needle that much for me.
What's everyone's goal? Is everyone's goal to make it to champs, or is everyone's goal to try and win an event? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these teams right now, it just seems like they need to make champs, but a lot of these teams aren't really changing to attempt to beat the top 4 teams, in my opinion, or the top 3 teams, if you want to say like New York's not in it. I think a lot of these, obviously you want to go to champs, stuff like that. I just don't see. Like with Real coming in, we know Real's very good, but do I see Real staying on this team at the end of the season? No, I see Real, moving forward because he's obviously a very good player. I think we can kind of all agree on that. Like ever since Real, even Real tunes into the breaking point streams and stuff like that, he came in. And I appreciate his honesty when we were speaking about Miami last time. He just said we just got shit on, but you guys get shit on a lot. but it's true, and I'll say I give my props when they win series. So props when beating a Seattle that was, can you say in form or on some sort of form or something like that?
Well, they looked alright last weekend, but it's just online COD, baby.
Yeah.
Rambol Ray.
I'm gonna say that Miami again. They're living and dying by Real, and Real is real, right? He's real. He's really out here. He's a shooter. He's good at COD. He knows what he's doing. If he can sit his team down and give some coordination, give a little insight from his own mind of how he plays COD, I'm sure everyone would benefit massively. Seattle, though, I want to pinpoint on them that maybe it was just beginner's luck, cheese. Maybe it was just a fresh team, certified shooting, but they looked finally like the Seattle that we expected them to be, in terms of underwhelming against the Heretics in this series overall. 804 was looking iced in the searches, which is another concerning thing for me. It was the map 5 1 and 5 when in clutch time, him and Abuza 1 and 5. Map 2, he 7 and 5, decent map, but it was that map 5 that was really concerned that no one had ice really. Brezzy got a couple not important kills. Abuza couldn't finish anything, and 04 kind of fell flat. If Seattle's gonna be successful, They need these searches to be flawless. Searches can't go under their belt. That's where they need to be perfection. And 1 in 6 on any map with this kind of roster and search is not going to cut it at all.
Yeah, O4's got to make sure he's not costing his team, little man, as Crawdaddy Man 69 said. Very well said.
Can't be having stinkers because Sib's just when you do this kind of shit, this is gonna go back and forth between Sib. Whoever has a stinker, someone's gonna go, little man costed again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it is brilliant, really.
If I was Sib, I'd just tweet and be like, bro, you're costing your team, little man. Like, I would just go back,
just straight back in there. No
jump in there,
punches
jump in
held.
deep, and,
I think Surge, I mean, they definitely improved after the change, but I guess you get this kind of like honeymoon period with the brand new teams once they form. And then the question is, can they maintain that? I always think it's difficult because they literally played one game this weekend. So I don't really have, it's tough to really say that much on the teams that have only played one match. But I think when you do get rid of RCTs, you lose an element of leadership and veteran, potentially game 5 ice and stuff like this. Because RCTs was a great player for them in Search this season. And Illy was their other great S&D player. Both of them are gone. So they needed O4 to be a big S&D superstar for them, and it hasn't really worked out. Okay, he has a 1.11 so far, but in this series he didn't play especially well, and that wasn't great. Hook also had a kind of poor series by his standards because he's been pretty good lately. I think they've got more talent than people want to believe, this Surge team. But I also think that it's just going to remain an inconsistency. And they're playing out of Vancouver. Like, it's every time we talk about this online cheese, and it's the same thing for Ravens. They lost to FaZe this week. They actually looked quite good against FaZe. They arguably should have won the game 1. Clay played well, but then he got shit on map 3, map 4. But Clay was like, well, that's my last series not playing in the facility. So Clay's back in the facility next week, as I understand. And so maybe that's going to change things again.
His cam was on.
Yeah, but I was watching the fist bump, and he weren't fist bumping him. He weren't in the same spot.
Maybe
so
you just don't like him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a big falling out. Heard it at first.
My thing with Seattle too is their X factor. I've said this since stage 1, and people like to cook me, and there's been some contention with the viewers in the chat about this, but their X factor, no matter what, is Hook. Hook needs to perform, and if he doesn't, you're losing a series. When Hook plays well, Seattle wins. When Hook is having an off day and his flanks and his pinches aren't working, they're losing. That's the key factor. So if there's anyone that needs to step up and really fortify the roster, Hook can't be having an off day on this one. And I could prove that even with their matches, their previous matches. Like, if they're going to make any noise, which it looks like they have winners, it looks like they're going to be in winners, honestly. It looks like they're going to make the winners bracket. Hook better come in shooting different, and we better hope it's just online cheese when it comes to LAN, right? In their win against Legion.
I don't think Surge are going to be as good online.
On LAN?
On LAN, yeah. I think they're like, they are probably just going to be online, as I'm not going to lie. And if they can't win online, then it's chalked, obviously.
Yeah.
This is a good result. I just think every single 10 points matters so much. Like, you look at the standings, and we'll see them in the coming minutes. Or we can even look at them now, who cares? Like, it's all so close that every 10 points is huge here. Like, for Miami, that 10 points is massive. Like, I mean, look at that. They're now in 8th again with that dub. Or maybe this is this stage, actually. Hang on.
I'm looking at Major 3.
Major 3. But, I mean, for winners, it's massive, obviously. Surge are looking okay for winners. But for the World Championship is kind of what I was looking at as well, is that it's so competitive there that every 10 points is hugely important. Like, that 10 that Surge didn't get there might be the difference at the end of the year. It might be the difference in Miami. I mean, they're at 90. I mean, look at that. Difference between 7th and 11th is 10. Crazy scenes.
Yeah.
So, just so important, like, every single one of these series. As dog shit as they might be to watch.
That like, even like 6th to, I'd say 6th to 11th is like, bro, that's a one decent placement at a LAN too.
It's
like,
yeah, go ahead.
6th to 11th, like, if let's say Raven,
bro, 5th is only 10 above 6th. It's 5th all the way down.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's only 10, bro. Like, think about it. From Boston's the only one I would say that's generally chalked here. Generally. Unless unless they super surprise everyone at LAN, it's pretty much looking bad for them. But Miami, even being 11th, one good placing, one win online, all of a sudden you could be in 5th. It could be that easy. One match win online. 1 win.
I mean, they have the same series wins as Rocker. Like they have 9 series wins, but it's just theirs have all come online, and Rocker did it better on LAN at Major 1.
Exactly.
But apart from that, their records are like the same, you know.
Exactly. The
It just shows
battle
how
for
easily it can shift.
7th through 9th is all tied. Like it's neck and neck through and through. And then Major 3, right? Winners bracket. LA Thieves had the biggest chance here to make a big jump ahead. But before we go too far ahead, let's talk about New York too, because we saw Miami play New York. So let's talk a little about New York. I think there's a good week of COD for them. So let's talk about them a little bit before we jump ahead to other teams and the battle for champs, the road for winners bracket.
Are they back, Trey? What do we think?
I mean, I don't know, I don't know. Because against Miami, the hard point still looked like a New York hard point, in my opinion. Same. They don't look dominant, but neither did OpTic against Boston. So like, you kind of got to give them the props just for winning, and that's all they can do, no matter how. It don't matter what the score is at the end of the day. A win's a win and a loss is a loss. So, they're back on track. They're doing what New York do. For New York, it's all about the LAN event. If I'm being honest with you, that's gonna be that will determine if it's New York or just like a bad LAN event from New York. We're already looking at a roster change for them too.
We talked about it before. Like, I think it is plausible if they come like 4th at this LAN to Toronto, OpTic, and FaZe. They probably think, fuck it, let's just whatever. Like, we can't really guarantee an improvement. But I think if New York plays anything worse than 4th at the major, they have to heavily consider it. Because all the online cheese, we talk about it, don't really matter. I don't miss this because it was horrible. But at least 3 weeks of online qualifiers wasn't complete torture. 5 weeks is just terrible because you get to this point and it's like, well, who even knows anymore? Well done, New York. You didn't lose a map this week. Are they any good? I don't know. That's why we were talking about last week. If you ran a 2K or a 5K, at least you'd have some idea how they'd get on in a proper tournament setting. Because this week they played, Vegas were the worst team I've ever seen in a while. And we'll get into them. And then they played a Miami team that's super up and down. And honestly, Miami, like we've always talked about this, absolutely no dog. Like when push comes to, this is why they're dog shit on LAN. No ice. The same thing happens here. They lose game 1 against New York. They bottle it in the Miami series, and then they mentally just check out and get shit on the rest of the series. Like, so I don't even give New York that much credit for that Miami win, just because, okay, well done, you won game 1, and then they just mentally collapsed. Like, so, and then they beat Vegas. So well done.
They didn't beat any top team. They didn't, and it's not like Vegas or Miami are close to being a top team. So I wouldn't say they're back. They're just back to doing what they should be doing anyway, which is not losing to a team below them.
Yeah.
And they honestly got put on bloody World Star by Geo. He's been getting shit on lately, and then he comes in here and just completely fries them. They still won, which is commendable.
If you clip map 1 ace, I mean I can do it too, but map 1 of the other hard points with
I mean, look at this shit.
Yeah, 1.87 for Geo.
It's the same shit over and over again. The hard points are close, always close. They've really got to sort this out. They really got to sort this out. 1.87 from Geo, but then you look at Sib, they're more positive. They outslayed him on the first map, only winning by 28 points against Vegas. Against Miami, 1.63 from Hydra, 1.08 from Skies. Everyone else, pretty heavily neg on Miami by Real first map, winning by just above 30, just above 30. So it's still the same thing with New York. Their hard point is terrifying, and not in a good way.
I think this series against Vegas was the first time we saw them pretty much have even kills and win a hard point. Like it was surprising that they even got this done. I will say, me and Trey actually were having a little bit of a spat when we were doing predictions, because we talked about, he picked, I think you picked Miami to win when they played over New York.
Yeah.
But I had the theory that they were going to finally lock in after a week off, get together after losing the week prior to like the teams they shouldn't lose to. lock in and take care of business. So I think this is the momentum New York needs going into the major, getting closer to Toronto, which is basically what, in 1 week? Yeah, we're there in a week basically. So this is good momentum. I like this for New York. I like how they got through a gritty map 1 here, even with Geo dropping 43. They made it out. They closed the series 3-0. This is the New York you want to see. I'm not going to say that they're going to start closing out the top 3 teams, but the confidence building they need is happening, and this is perfect timing going into the Toronto major.
I mean, I will say, like, you know, it's obviously if New York lose versus these, it's like, oh, what the fuck, like. But I don't know. I just feel like you shouldn't lose a hard. I feel like the hard points should not be close half the time. Like we watched them versus Miami, and it was just like Miami gave up like a decent amount of scrap every single time. It was like, oh, that would be good scrap for Miami, but they always lose that last 1v1 for the last 15, 20 seconds. You know, we all sat in the call after the pre-show and watched it. For the amount of talent that New York have on that roster, and we've said it here, you know, Hydra could automatically be slotted into a different team. Sib got the talent to be on a different team. All these players have, a top 4 team to make another top 4 team, whatever you want to say. They have so much talent and they don't slam teams.
This is the case for like every team that isn't FaZe though right now.
But that's true too. But like even like, I bet even New York would give Boston a good game on hardpoint. I bet that would be a 30 point, you know, game. That's how much like they win the hardpoint, but it's just scary how close the score is at the end of every hardpoint. No matter who's firing or not, it's just the same shit every single time.
Yeah, I'm also worried just because it seems like they've taken even from the major 2, at least online qualifiers, it seems like New York has taken a step back. Clearly, one of their issues, considering major 1, was learning the meta and learning the game quicker than everyone else, right? Quicker than the top 3 above them. And it seems to be that with the new maps coming in, new modes, right? New maps and modes, combos, New York to begin with has started in a similar pace of major 1. That resulted in them getting pretty much taken out of the actual major 1 very early. I think they got top 8. So do we see a similar scenario going into major 3? If we made a prediction on New York, do we see them playing well on LAN, or is it going to be a reoccurrence of the very underwhelming major 1 where I think they got bottled out top 8?
I think it depends on the bracket a bit, like, because the way their stage started, they were going to probably struggle to make winners, but having now gone 6-0 map count this week, I mean, if you look at the standings again, Ace, who are they likely to play here first round at the major? Because if they're playing, so they're in 6th right now. So that would be a Toronto round 1, and they're 3-3, so they play 1 more game. Yeah, it's actually quite plausible that happened, isn't it? Because Thieves, Toronto, they're probably going to play like Thieves or Toronto round 1, which is definitely losable. So I think that's going to be the telling one.
I'm scared for New York this major. They're 5-5 in hardpoint. This split. They're 3-4 in S&D and 5-1 in control. So their control looks good. But the other 2 game modes, might as well toss the coin, see who's going to win the map, honestly. For the hard points for me especially. Because we always looked at New York as a pretty good S&D team.
Yeah.
Especially with the cheesy strats they have, with the wall bang and everything like that. But this major's been very, very weird for them.
At least they're playing 6-star. I know that there's a couple people mentioning this because we've roasted them for this the last couple of weeks, not playing the maps in the rotation. Like at least they played it and they won it. So I'm like, why have you not played it before now? So that is going to be important for them because there's no way you can beat FaZe or OpTic if you can't beat them on 6-star. I don't think. Because it's like those are the new maps that are in the pool. You've got to.
We're gonna see how well they are matching up against, because their last game's against Toronto, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, so matches. Yeah, actually is against Toronto. There it is.
Yeah, it's in 6 days. They play Toronto. Their last match before they go to Toronto. I think that will give us a good idea of where they're at. In terms of the team.
I'll make a prediction. This is a Trey-like prediction. If they lose this match, they go out of the tournament top 8. Confidence shot.
You know the funny thing about my predictions as well, Ace? They're never fucking wrong.
That's why I'm doing a Trey-esque type of prediction here, calling it before I see it. But if they lose to Toronto here, I think their confidence might be shocked going in. And if they have to play Toronto again in round 1, I think that's very scary scenes if you're New York. A very confidence-based team, in my opinion.
I think their X factor needs to show up. Kismet.
Especially against Scrappy, because you know what happened last year.
Just in general, him and Kiz and Sib are not having like, you know, Kiz and Sib like they were last year, or Sib like Major 2-esque type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Kismet's currently rocking a 0.84 in hardpoint, which, you know, could potentially be why they're not as good. But I mean, I've seen the same New York hardpoint for the last 3 majors, so it's definitely not kills because they get enough kills on the map. S&D, Hydra's a bit lower in the S&Ds, and control, they're just good at control. They're a good control team. They're 5-1. Their control is not an issue. I'm telling you, it's hardpoint. I think if they lose a hardpoint in a series, that might be them chalked.
Damn. Speaking of chalked, my favorite segment of the show every week, the team I love to talk about. Can we talk about the Boston Bottlers, the Boston Breach? Can we talk about them for a minute now?
Yeah, we'll do a Seam after this. I know people in the chat want it, but we'll do Boston first.
We'll talk about Asim in a second. Don't worry, boys and girls. We'll talk about them.
The favorite weekly segment, the Boston Bottlers, is pretty good actually.
The Boston.
What a weird week for these guys, right?
Starting with OpTic Texas. So I mean, this was the weirdest. I think this was the weirdest series I've seen in all Major 3. To be honest, I'll take the first reaction to this. OpTic, I think we're just like rolling out of bed. No caffeine, thinking it was going to be the easiest series in the world. And clearly Boston came into it caffeinated, ready to go, warmed up, shot bots, prepped the night before, VODed up. And clearly it showed that OpTic were like fighting for their life, because they definitely underwhelmed, came into it a little bit underprepared to play Boston Breach. And it got scary. But wow, this would have been the upset of the year if OpTic
fans, though, they were never sweating, you know.
Of course.
Going game 5, no problem, baby, no problem.
Kenny's reaction had me crying every time it was a close map or they lost. He literally just done this, just like, what the fuck is going on?
Why am I playing? Why am I getting paid to do this shit? Like,
you know,
get me out of here.
For starters, I will say I hope Beans is all right. Obviously, he had to take this weekend the matches off too. The rest of the weekend matches off. Apparently he's healing up. I don't know what happened. I assume he just had some back pain.
I'm interested to hear the chat's POV on this, because I've never had any like back issues like this. I don't know exactly what it could be, whether it could be nerve related, whether it could be like disc related.
I mean, obviously, like everyone's like, oh, you're a gamer, you can just sit down. Like... Yeah, I mean, listen, pain's pain at the end of the day. All right, no matter where it is, even if you got like massive pain in your leg, like you still can't play properly. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter. Like I saw a lot of things like bro thinks he's in the NFL or something like that. Yeah, it's all fun and games at the end of the day, but if he can't sit there and play COD, like it's got to be an issue. Like it's got to be something serious, in terms of serious enough to not allow you to sit down and play video games. So
and that's what Bean said. He was like, well, if there was even a 1% chance I could play, I would have played. Which is exactly what every competitor would do. It's like you see with the F1 drivers, like you have a tough time getting them out of the car, whatever's happened.
Yeah, and it must be serious too. If like, bro, if my back hurt, I'd be sitting down playing games. So like,
apparently Shadow GM Doug said it was and Boston Breach's medical team, Doug Sensor Martin.
Their medical team, their esports medical team is running to the field.
Yeah, Dr. Doug. Yeah, he said apparently it was a ruptured disc.
What the fuck was Beans doing to rupture a disc, bro? Like this is my main question. Ruptured is not like sitting and it ruptures. He had to have done something for it to happen.
Bro, we theorized on this, Trey, on the pre-show. We know what happened. Doug, it's the master plan to get him back into the team.
It must be,
He took Beans to the gym and he said, look, Ben, we're going to get you into shape. Get yourself on this pull-up bar. We'll get some weighted pull-ups in. Get yourself some deadlifts on. Oh, what's that? A herniated disc? Oh, that's a shame. We're going to have to put Shawnee in. and when he outperforms Priester, you know what that means, baby. You know what that means.
Boston Breeze
I'm
Academy makes the
sorry,
return. Snoopy, Pentagram, Shawnee, Sensor, all back in the lineup. Main time. It's big time right now. Game time, baby. But yeah,
I will say,
go ahead.
I will say a serious back injury will make you not be able to play COD. No matter if you sit down playing COD, you're still going to be in a lot of pain. So I hope Ben's all right. I hope he's healing up well. And we'll find out whether he's even playing this weekend. And if he don't play this weekend, that could be a scary sight for Boston in terms of the LAN event too. Because I assume if he doesn't play this weekend too, which I hope he does, but I can't see him going to the major at that point as well.
A ruptured disc is no joke. So, like, there's a high chance of that happening. He made any surgery. You don't know. Like, the back issues take a lot of time. So, but we did have Shawnee coming into the lineup, and it was kind of, not going to lie, Shawnee was piecing against OpTic. He was looking good.
Shawnee is a player, man. Like, people don't know. He's also looking good. Like,
Yeah, he
he's
dropped
got
the
the pick
.82,
going
but
on.
it doesn't tell the story, right? Map 1, 1.14, came out shooting. Map 2, didn't have a great one. Map 3 that they won, 0.75, but he made a lot of critical plays, which I will say his playmaking on that control was more important than his kills. Map 4, 0.74, didn't shoot 6-star, new map. Sure, he was in the blender. And the map 5, I mean, he did second best on his team. So for a guy that was
he
coaching,
tossed that 1v1 against Pred, so he did what he had to do.
exactly.
The
right?
whole like construction man on high rise thing is so funny as well. Like the fact that he built his reputation for shitting on people on Ramaz's Search and Destroy.
That's my dog right there.
Here he
That's
is
my
on that.
dog right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Let's go. Here he is at a high rise all these years later, like still putting in work. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's typical out of Sean to step in. But what do we think? Okay, so this is the question I'm posed to you guys. Do we worry for OpTic? Did OpTic just underperform, or is it a concern for OpTic overall? And Boston's all of a sudden now certified because of Shawnee. What do we think is actually? What is the meaning of this match if we break it down?
Well, let's go
I mean,
through the replay Gs first. Like, I want to look at the replay drama tweets. I know that I put them in Ace just to look at like the fact that Kenny was lagging, from his POV, the referee decision making, what Pred had to say, just to kind of paint a picture here of why this series was, for online COD, even more cheese than normal. I don't know what these referees are doing, man. I actually have some things to say on this, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, let's listen to Pred explain what happened against Boston, and after the map 1 reset, what was going on.
A lot of people are saying
we got a mid-series interview. We got a mid-series interview with one of the
We're
players.
fucking
Wait, so what are they
breaking.
saying? Is everyone saying they were capping?
They're just saying
They're
cap.
saying he's capping specifically.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead,
no, no.
AG.
Okay, so basically what happened is before, like every time you load into a match, you do like a server testing. You know, you've been a part, you guys have played.
We've been a part.
So yeah, so we always do server tests, right?
Yeah.
And you check if the server's good, playable. And during the server testing, like Ken was fully freezing, like to the point where his gun's not even showing up. Like, you know when you just freeze for like a solid like 15 seconds, no gun, nothing. And we recorded it. We sent it we recorded him freezing, and we're like, yo, like this server keeps lagging. Can we try another server? And the other server actually benefits them more. Like they play on a less ping, I think, and we play on a higher one. But it's just like we couldn't play because he's actually freezing. And then we're like, yo, it's gonna keep happening. Like, can we can we change the server? And basically what happened is they just didn't do it. And we're like, and we're just like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the game. And yeah, and then we honestly got into the game, and yeah. But
Dude.
Chat, you guys are saying cap. It's not cap. Why
Dude,
would it
the
be cap?
fuck would he be capping?
He asked to end the game in the first P1 in the first 30 seconds. He said, yo, ref, I'm lagging. Like, because he warned. He said, look, ref, if I lag, I'm going to, like, can we end it? And
Yeah.
he said, the ref said, yeah, like, I'll report it to the people or whatever. First 30 seconds into the P1, he just says, ref, I'm frozen. Like, he couldn't play.
So the first 30 seconds of P1,
Yeah.
he was already fucked.
He was already fucking frozen, yeah. Pretty much.
A lot of people are saying cap.
Oh, look, Lion Man in chat saying this is cap. This guy wants me to have to make another apology, or what is this? Wants me to do another rant, like, because I'm about it. I'm about it. If this is cap, I will be there.
So listen, I'm gonna be real. If you lag that much,
We got the clip
Going
from
into-
OpTic's POV as well on Kenny.
Oh,
yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
I saw how laggy he was. Right, that is like by far unplayable. But if you're saying that you lagged like that in the first 30 seconds and you didn't back out, bear in mind you don't get forfeited in the league. You just don't. Like, even if Kenny backed out mid-match after lagging like that, and they had proof of him lagging like this, they're not getting forfeited. I don't think anyone's really been forfeited in the league, to be honest with you. I can't remember anyone being forfeited.
Well, the last time I remember some shit kind of like this happening was when the SAE drama happened with OpTic at the start of MW2. Cammy calls in the SAE, gets stuck. They want the replay because it was a glitch, even though OpTic won. And then the league were like, yeah, we're going to replay it. And then OpTic refused to replay it and basically took the forfeit. This particular incident is very interesting. I'll let you finish, Trey.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, in the first 30 seconds, you're lagging like that. If you're not backing out, then I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Like, if that video is how badly Kenny's lagging, I'm sorry, but like in the first 30 seconds, that might be cap. Because I know for a fact no one's staying in that game, especially OpTic. OpTic, you know, first 30 seconds, maybe not, especially because Kenny, I saw a clip of Kenny Boston tweet out saying this must be AI or this AI is getting too good. And it's Kenny popping like a 2-piece, nearly a 3-piece on the same map, like where he lagged out. Yeah. I'm going to say it didn't happen in the first 30 seconds because we all know everyone's backing out. Like, even if you're playing a public match and you're lagging that bad, you're backing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to play it. So, I mean, I'll call cap on
that's the other thing. Like, if you leave it longer, like the longer it, let's say Kenny did have one lag spike in the first few seconds, especially because OpTic apparently knew it was going to happen. Like, they'd done the server test, it didn't work. The CDL refs, I don't know, wanted to get back to washing the dishes or something, so they didn't bloody change the server, which is a problem in its own right. Like, I don't know what's going on there. These guys are getting paid to do what again? It's the second time the season we've been talking about this cheese. Second time that Boston were involved. It was a team the first time when he was on Boston. The referee was washing the dishes mid-game against New York or whoever it was, which was a disaster class. So that deserves to be commented on. But also from the Kenny side, it's like, did he just decide to leave once he knew that it was chalked? Because they were down 100 points. It was quite clear at that point they weren't going to be winning this map, especially with Kenny in that state. Maybe he lagged once in the first few seconds. And he thought, well, you know, might fix himself. Let's play it out. Probably going to beat these guys anyway.
Or we might just smoke them, so like it don't matter. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting because I really want there to be a hard and fast rule in this case. Like, because when we used to play GB's Trey back in the day, if you quit the game, that was a forfeit. Nobody wanted to back out, no matter what was happening, because if you backed out up 5-4, the other team could hit the fucking, you know, screen record, send that to the refs, and be like, "Yep, they quit. That's an insta forfeit."
But if you have proof, like they did, then you're good. That's why I don't get it when everyone's saying, That's why I don't get it when everyone's saying like, "Oh, per the rules." Listen, there ain't no motherfuckers been forfeited. All right. The only reason OpTic got forfeit for the SAE thing was because they literally said, we're not replaying it. Like, would rather take a forfeit than replay. Like, the league has not forfeited anyone for backing out.
But the issue is, what if you back out down 249.50? This, I think, was Kenny's thinking, was like, well, if Kenny stays in the game until the end, because technically I think that's what you're meant to do, right? Like, if you're not meant to back out, although it is at a referee discretion. But let's say Kenny stays until 249 to 50 and they're about to get 50 point clubbed. Then he leaves. Then he's like, oh yeah, we want a replay. Like, at that point, no one's going to be happy with a replay because it just feels wrong.
I think there's I don't know the rule of it. I know there's like a ruling in, I think it's challenges or something like that. If it's like past a certain time period, like
it's meant to be like combined 250 points or something. Like, if both teams combined have 250, but apparently that only apparently that's only a thing on LAN, and online that isn't a rule. I think EasyMac told me that. So what is going on with this league, guys?
Well, for starters, I think what's the point of having referees if they can't even make a decision?
Yeah,
it's like a security guard at that point. They're stopping people from getting in the team speak. Nope, OpTic are playing, lads. Sorry, you're not allowed in here. But this stems back to the Black Ops 4 thing when, like, the ruling of control, when, you know, sorry if people heard about it or not heard about it, but when we played LG on FaZe, all right, the idea of control is to cap the points. If you cap the point, you win the game, all right? So that's what we did when we was on FaZe. We capped the point. Me and ZooMaa left in a 2v1. We capped the point, control.
Against Slacked.
Against Slacked, and he drops a gravity slam. Kills me and Tommy after we've capped the point. All right, so we're shouting out, screaming, everything like that, because control, you cap the point, you win the round, done and dusted. Well, we got told that whatever is the ruling on the screen is the final rule, no matter what. So let's say, yeah, no bullshit. Let's say OpTic play Boston. Boston win 250-49, yeah, but it shows a victory on OpTic's screen. Doesn't that mean like whatever's on the screen stands? Because I'm pretty sure that's still the ruling today.
Wow.
Like
If
whatever
that is
on
still the
screen
rule, like,
stands.
yeah. I think my opinion on this is kind of difficult because I want there to be a hard and fast rule, but I also think the referees like have to have discretion to not do stupid shit.
I mean,
you know
take it back to
Otherwise,
what,
what's the point of the refs?
Take it back to World War II when we played Lamar's team, TK. A fire alarm went off because a bomb threat's going off. We were up 210 to like 160 or something like that. Had full rotation, full everything like this, full streaks. Lamar's team were never going to win the game or even get close to the hill. We go out, come back, full replay.
And they smoked
like,
your bitch ass out of that tournament and won that shit. Woo,
yeah,
baby!
we did. You know, that's where you never win the replay started.
That was a dark day in the European COD fan.
And that was a bright day for the Abedi Institute of Knowledge. Okay, it was a great day for the Abedi Institute.
But that's my same point. It's just like it's the same as like football. One ref could make a decision that's different to the other. That's why there's no like definitive like ruling. And I feel like the only way it is a fair ruling, Rab, is if you do like solidify like, oh, whatever results on the screen is the result, because then no one can really, you know, be different to that. You know, you might even get an OpTic fan that's a referee and you know, fuck that other team, fucking give OpTic the win. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that was the point I was going to make. Like, if you quit the game playing GBs, but you had premium or you knew one of the refs, you were chilling. You know, they got you covered. They had that match cancelled. They had you getting the win for it, no problem. So, you know, it's the same thing. OpTic are in those cheeks. Well, maybe they're not in the cheeks anymore. The whole like hex. I mean, that was the theory, and people always used to joke about this shit, especially when Hex had the ownership stake in Deserto. They were all up in those cheeks. But it's probably not the case anymore.
I will say this though, like in the first 30 seconds, and you're lagging that badly, like you got to leave the game. If it is true, you've got to leave the game. Like,
why did Lineman say it was cap? That's my question. Does Line know something that I don't? When Pred said that it was cap?
I mean, we see what you can't really call it cap. You see on the screen the guy. Like, I honestly in ranked play recently, Trey. I don't know if you've been playing ranked recently, but every like 3, 4, 5 games I get into, the server just will start lagging like that, where you're just stuck.
I try not to play ranked. Yeah.
Oh, you're
trying to stay away.
You were the biggest grinder I knew, and now you don't play with. What the hell?
Game sucks.
Oh my god! But basically, the servers have been really weird the last couple weeks. I'm not gonna lie. Like every time.
But they don't use COD servers though.
I thought they do play on COD servers.
They have their own servers.
Interesting. I just knew the servers were weird recently. They've been very laggy, oddly every couple games or so. So I'm like, maybe it's affecting the pros as well. I don't know. But we clearly see it. OpTic, I don't think are making excuses, especially against Boston Breach. I don't think they're coming out P1 or coming out that first game down, what, it was 100, 150, or down some crazy 120, 130 or something. That just didn't seem realistic on its own. So just by knowledge.
They lost that shit again, baby. They lost that shit again.
They did.
They got slammed again.
I think if they played again, though, like, they'd just smoke them 3-0. I think it's just one of those things where they woke up, saw Beans weren't playing. They actually probably went back to sleep. Woke up, had a McDonald's brekkie.
It's interesting.
I think this upcoming week is going to be a little bit telling, just to see like how, because I've not been that impressed by OpTic lately. It's not been squeaky clean at all. We've seen this from Kenny. He's made it quite clear that they've not been playing their best COD. He talked about in that actual COD League tweet. I thought was probably one of the most interesting ones.
Right here,
yeah, when he says that certain plays that we're not making. And it was interesting yesterday during the matches. it was like 4 to 5 threads talking about Pred and the fact that he, is still laying down and doing all these plays that don't make them win. It is interesting given that OpTic didn't even play that day. And they were still talking about how Pred was costing the team. But I do think it's interesting to know, like, if you look at the scoreboard from the series against, I think, Gorillas, maybe it was. Maybe it was in the Boston series, I don't know. One of the two anyway, where Pred, despite having, like, I think still a top 5 KD of the stage, he had the lowest damage by a long way in... Was it
it's
this
the LAG
series
one,
here?
I think.
Yeah.
It's 14,300.
It was this series, yeah. It's just interesting, right? Like, sure, he's 1.01, but, like, where is he, right?
It's reminded me of Afro in terms of, like, low damage output. And the only thing I said about Afro was he's not... I'm not saying... I'm not comparing him to Afro Ace. I'm just saying... I'm not comparing him to Afro. Pred is by far, like, one of the best subs in the game right now. But in terms of damage output, like... You look at it there compared to, he's still 2k less than Shotzi. Similar kills to Dashi. Dashi's 4k ahead of him, even though Dashi does use an AR, granted. But I couldn't quite pin it down unless he's just not shooting everyone that he's seeing. The same way that I don't think Afro shoots everyone he sees. You know what I'm saying?
Like, for these teams, usually AG just fucking knows he's going to shit on them. And he just turns up and shits on them. Like... I don't know. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or exactly what it is, but I expect Pred against these teams to just come in and absolutely piss on them, which is usually what happens, but not lately, as much.
I don't know. I'm not so big of a fan of the narrative, only because, again, they do dominate the series. It's a bit closer than you want to expect in the hard points, but it's a bit closer than you want to expect. But he's playing well. He's also flipping between an AR and a sub depending on the map. Shotzi's a bit more aggressive this year. AG doesn't have the free will necessarily to be the he kind of has to play around Shotzi a bit more than last year when he had Max sliding in with him. You get what I'm trying to say here? So I think how he's playing the game is still efficient in the system he's in. And as long as he does his role, I think low damage or not, even if you look at LAG, for example, not the best example out here, but Fame, 14,000, Estriel, 16. One sub is going to be clearly the damage dealer, and one's going to be the lower one, because one has to flip between the sub and the AR. So I just think it's like a little cheese to say, oh, Pred's not dealing the damage he needs to, because in his role, he's still playing well and being effective on the map.
I mean, I'm just strictly saying I don't think he's shooting everyone he sees. Like the same I said about Afro too. But it could be wrong. I'm just saying in general, like if you look at the damage stats. But New York and OpTic, what is it? The trend with the top teams right now with slackening hardpoint.
I think, to be honest, with OpTic, it's a lot of this Karachi, right? Because they play a lot of Karachi hardpoint lately. It's not been a great map for them. They want to improve on it, and that's fair enough. They're confident in their 6-star. They're confident in the other things they play. They want to get working on Karachi. Maybe that was the plan for Kenny, right? Play for a rotation, hit the reset cheese, bang, get some more practice in. Then get slammed again the second map. So not great. But they're still winning all the series, right? So I think, honestly, with 5 weeks of online qualifiers, starting well, having a bit of a slump, finishing well, going into the major. Because I think often going into the majors, it's a lot of confidence and it's a lot of positive momentum, especially when you're playing so many weeks of qualifiers. And even though they've won 5 series in a row, it doesn't feel like they have crazy positive momentum right now, OpTic, just on the way that they've played. Who do they play next week, actually, Ace?
Thieves.
Oh, okay. Interesting to close that with, yeah. I think that's going to be quite telling to me. Like, if they lose that, I don't think they're...
This is why we say FaZe is above everyone, like, in terms of how above they are. They are just slamming teams, whereas OpTic aren't slamming teams.
Yeah.
But I will say this, like, FaZe have had some close hard points or whatever like that. But, I mean, how many maps have FaZe lost this split?
Let's find out.
I think it's
3.
like 2, 3.
They're 18-3. And they've played OpTic, Toronto, and New York.
Yeah.
FaZe.
Like, it's...
So, yeah.
They've lost one in each game mode. 1 hardpoint, 1 SD, 1 control. That's it.
But like I said, I will say OpTic, the hard points from the top teams are scaring me right now, apart from FaZe, because like I said, New York always winning by 20, 30 points. Seems like OpTic are doing that now too, and even Kenny's like, said his piece about why. Said his piece on their hardpoint game, so it's obviously not as strong as they want it to be. So it could also be just an online COD, this boring ass factor. They only play 1 or 2 matches a week, so it's just start off strong and just keep diminishing and diminishing and diminishing because it's just so fucking boring. It's not a good excuse, but like I see, you see it from a lot of people. Like you see Clay play COD now and online. Fuck, like, he don't want to be there, but you see him go to LAN. It looks like it's the most fun he's had in years.
I have a specific interesting take with OpTic. It's similar to New York's thing of learning maps. I think OpTic take a little bit more time than FaZe, for example, to learn the new maps and adapt quickly. So I think that's, on 6-star with them going neck and neck with, Breach. Or no, it was LAG, excuse me. It was LAG on 6-star that it was neck and neck, right? And even the Karachi. It's, to me right now, it's like them trying to catch up and fill the gaps when it comes to new maps, new modes in the game, meta kind of flipping a bit. ARs are a bit different now. Headshot multiplier is gone. Subs are a little bit more powerful. Once metas change, I feel like they take a little bit more time to adapt in a phase. They're still playing well, but we're going to see on LAN how big of an effect that has, how quickly they adapt to the new metas, the new maps, when it comes to the biggest stage, biggest time, and against the best of the best.
This was such a rough series for Gorillas as well. Like, I don't know if this reminded me a bit of the series that they played against like Rocket when they had that ultra collapse. Apologies, Ace, but when Rocket and Tracer, they were chalked. I don't know if it's going to be the case with Gorillas, but like this was genuinely a winnable series because again, the high-rise control, they kind of bottled it, right? OpTic, like we saw this happen against FaZe. I've seen it a couple of times now where they've had these moments to close out. This is one of those series that FaZe just always wins 3-0. Like it's super rare. And to be fair, it happened against New York where FaZe went up 2-0 and then they lost the control. But against the teams they should beat, when you go up 2-0, they never lose map 3. Like that's the dominant FaZe teams have always just stamped out the series right then. And that's why like Thieves are kind of struggling.
I was going to say, I feel like even if they lose map 1 as well, they just win 3 the next maps anyway.
Yeah, it's easy. Like whereas with OpTic, all of a sudden they've lost map 3, they've lost their momentum. They feel more beatable to their opposition than FaZe do, and then they get. I mean, I want to say lucky, but Gorillas like threw a lot of those rounds on that a lot of those rotations on the Karachi, and if it had gone to a high-rise search, I'd have probably said Gorillas are the favorites there. To be honest, Gorillas have been good at that map, even with Assault on the team.
I mean, I hate OpTic on that map. I fucking hate OpTic on that.
Like OpTic very easily could have got reverse swept here. Like I think very easily.
Yeah, I think this is good for LAG though. I don't see this as like a Minnesota OpTic thing.
It's just their winners bracket spot is tough. Like even winning another map here would have been nice because they started the stage 0-9 with Assault. They like I think their map count is not great in terms of winners bracket at 2-4. But if they win next week, then it doesn't matter. If they get 3-4, it doesn't matter.
I think I'm a fan of LAG right now. To be honest with you, I think they got a lot of good people on there in terms of like good mindsets and everything like that. They know they're on probably the worst off org. Crazy to say that because we have Las Vegas in here, but I think they're on the worst org in terms of. I mean, it's not even an org at this point, is it? It's just 4 guys playing with each other. They get their flights funded, really. But they look good, and I didn't think they would look as good as they do with Flames, but I'm impressed, honestly, especially because we looked at this as Flames wasn't frying in challenges. He wasn't winning all challenges and stuff like that, which goes to show that you have to be winning in challenges to perform on a CDL team. Speaking of that, Paris, Vegas, Legion.
Oh shit!
My favorite team.
What a jump! What a jump! What a jump by Trey right there. Yeah, let's get into the meat and the potatoes right now. Let's just do it.
I did want to comment a bit more on Boston just before we do Vegas, just to like close the loop on Boston because I think there's a bit more to say on that team. Like, okay, Shawnee come in and he's outperformed P-Dog. What's going on? I need to confront you on this, Ace. Priester, what's this about? What's this about? This guy, most underrated player in the league. Can
Wait,
my
wait,
guy
who-
shoot back?
One second. Who outperformed who? Let's go about this one more time. Who outperformed who?
Let's have a look at the most recent series they played. The final one of this most recent weekend against Thieves. Yeah, a potentially winnable series. Look at my guy Shawnee. There he is, 62 kills on the board. Pentagram's coming through. Fair play to Pentagram. Maybe Doug is the GOAT. Honestly, I mean, okay, I like Priester, but maybe it's time that we just choose the Doug Cincy-Martin God Squad. He endorsed Pentagram, and even though I think Pentagram is still a bit of a fraud with absolutely no ice in Search and Destroy, he has had some good maps, to be fair to him. Maybe Doug sees something that I don't, because he's turned it around. Shawnee was a Doug Cincy-Martin classic teammate for a long time. He's doing well. There's even an argument they keep Shawnee in the team long term, who knows? And then Snoopy, we've got to talk about Snoopy, man. We can't just gloss over the Snoopy discussion because it was very interesting this week. This guy is putting in work, especially in the first series. To be fair, they did lose this one. I can't go too hard, and this is the reason why like the storylines don't really mean that much, is because they played with the sub. So I'm like, what can I really say? But Snoopy, I think there's an argument to say they've made a good decision keeping this guy. Look at this series against OpTic, 115 kills from Snoopy. This guy is the truth. He's talented. Shotzi who, brother? 101? Talk about 115, baby. Almost 21,000 damage. Dashi breaks the record, and Snoopy's in there doing the damage. Now look,
Still dead last, 0 and 5.
yeah, he might be dead last. And sure,
Dead last.
sometimes he doesn't make the best plays, but I do think
last.
keeping Snoopy has been endorsed, which I know sounds ridiculous because they've dead last in the league, but I think that they've made the correct decision sticking with Snoopy. The problem is the guys they brought in have no ice. They can't win a search.
Brother, you
And-
gotta zip it up now.
No,
Rab,
this is absolute. I
Rab.
will die on this hill.
Rab,
That keeping Snoopy
Rab.
is a good idea in the long term.
Rab, you don't even believe you right now. Okay? You don't even believe you right now.
No, I do 100%. I'm actually standing on this take.
Oh, wait. Fuck Snoopy for a second. No offense, Snoopy. We'll just fuck your discussion real quick. Shawnee, P-Dog.
What?
I'm
okay.
interested in. I'm interested in that one
Specifically on that debate.
because you said if Shawnee outperforms Pentagram,
Yeah.
Penta's got to go.
Okay. What's the issue here? Okay. Let's go to the good series, the one against OpTic against the better team. P-Dog 1.0, 20,000 damage. You have Shawnee 18,000. He's a little bit less.
This is the game you're supposed to lose. And you play good, of course, and you go to the game you potentially could win.
Okay. Let's go.
Like
Also,
yeah,
if we're gonna cheese me right now, I'm gonna cheese you right back. Priesta 0.98, Pentagram 0.97. The numbers don't lie, Trey. They don't lie.
Snoopy 1.07. The numbers don't lie. Slayer rating.
Wait,
90.
hey,
Sheesh.
hey, you skinny stock Danish man. I will get to you in a second about this stupid conversation. Okay, give me a second. Okay.
I'm ready, baby.
Okay, give me a second.
I already said like bringing in Pentagram. I don't agree with it. Yeah, he fried whatever like that, but 0 and 5, 0 and 6. I don't know what they are. Bottom of the league. It ain't looking good.
Okay, real question.
Discussion
So
needs to be
yeah,
had.
discussion is then: would you rather have the guy who could piece against the better teams, or the guy who's good against the shitter teams? What do you want on your team? What's
I want
more
a guy
valuable?
that's going to do it. I want a guy that's going to do it for both. And if he fucks up and if they don't win if they don't win against a better team, they fucking sure as hell should fry against a lesser team.
Okay, so
what about consistency here? They need 10 points. They are literally not going to make champs, regardless. I don't care. Like, yes, they had Shawnee, fair enough, right? But like, all right, they didn't have Shawnee. This is P-Dog where he needs to perform at his finest.
when has P-Dog been a super slayer that's dropping 1.2s? When has he been that?
It's not. We're in a professional league, bro.
That's not my question. Okay, in a professional league, people play their role, correct? P-Dog is making the right play on the map. He may miss a kill here or have a bad series, but every player has a bad series. People were talking about Major 2. Pred needs to pick it up. He's having a terrible thing. Bro, he's not playing bad. Maybe he's not getting a couple kills here and there, and his KD's a little worse. Priesta here, more damage, 0.95, 0.9, but he has more damage. Like, hey, that's a series that was quote unquote winnable, right? Winnable. Let's say the Rocker one that they lost. Priesta 1.
Look at those records, man. The 2-3,
1.21,
2-3. Oh,
Pentagram
that's
0.81,
rough.
Snoopy 0.99, Beans 1.15. So again,
I'm
you're
not-
expecting.
I'm-
Wait,
I'm
wait,
not-
wait. Let me
I'm-
finish.
I'm-
Let me
I'm
finish.
not
Wait,
saying
wait, let me
Priesta.
finish. Let me finish. You're expecting Priesta to play with 3 or 4 rosters, right? His original roster with Slasher and then Asim, right? There's that roster, or the original roster. There's the Slasher Asim roster. There's the Penta roster. There's the Beans roster, and now there's the Shawnee roster. You're expecting a guy to give you everything and more when he's the one piece that keeps having to play with a bunch of different players. He has to adapt. Give him a second to scrim with them. If he has one bad series, we can't come here and say that he's not performing well when throughout the year, he has been their solid rock throughout the year. 1.0.
Yes, I'm not saying that, Ace. I've not once said he's not the best player in the team. Not once. I'm just saying from now, when a sub comes in like that, you cannot underperform against a team that you need to beat for your 10 points. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but you as a pro, no, there's
Yes,
more
you have
to
bad series.
Yeah, no. Beyond that, not even that. There's a new guy coming in is gonna mess up what timings, some strats may not be the same. That makes it difficult. So that's why I'm giving him a little bit of leeway. That it's not just like, and the team's just been shite overall. Let's be honest.
They have my leeway. I'm not saying that. Like I said, they played with a sub. I'm just saying we're talking P-Dog here. We're talking world champ. We're talking one in every single year that the CDL has been a thing. Shawnee coming in, that's when you need to perform your best. You're literally not about to make champs.
So the guy who the week before gave you a 1.15, the new guy comes in and gives you a 0.8, 0.9. It'll make your life easier or harder. That's all I'm saying. It's very simple. It's
this is more of a personal thing, like,
They're not making champs anyways, brother. This shit is GG's chalk, no re. It's done anyways. Let's be honest here.
But I think Priest has by far been their best player all year. I'm just saying.
Agreed.
For this series.
For this situation, he should have stepped up. I'll give you that. He should have stepped up.
That's all I'm saying. Shawnee's come in. They need the points. Priest is the guy that needed to step up, and he didn't. That was it.
Priest is the vet. He's the vet.
Point.
Okay,
that's
fair. I can concede to that point, no problem. But I'm not okay. We don't have time. We gotta get to Asim, bro. I'm not even,
okay, look. I'll just make
Snoopy point, bro. This Snoopy point's terrible.
The point that I want to make is that had they have got rid of Snoopy and that have kept the whole Slasher Asim Priester thing and that have gone down a different route, they would not be better than they are, or at least they wouldn't be on a better trajectory than they are. They may have more points, but I think that the way that Snoopy's played recently, also getting heavily left out to dry by his team, is proof that keeping Snoopy around as the long-term vision of the franchise is a good idea. They just haven't figured it out around that yet.
All right, before we hop into Asim, if you want my opinion on Boston, for the next year, they need to strip it all fucking back and rebuild. That's what they need to do. Strip it all the fuck the way back.
Honestly, apparently a lot of it comes from like head office as well. Like this ain't even Dens and Zed and those guys that we should be apparently it's like even higher than that. Like it's some of the decision makers on the organizational level above them that are making some of the questionable decisions.
Yo, whoever edited Pentagram on that thing needs firing ASAP. Made him look like a gnome.
All right, what do we think about Vegas, ladies and gentlemen? We're finally here.
Vegas.
What a team. Might be my favorite team to watch in recent memory.
So I'll just start with the quick overview of the matches before we get into the meat and potatoes of everything everyone wants to talk about. The FaZe series was losable, right? You're going into that one knowing you're basically going to take an L here. So I don't think this was a critical series of the weekend. It really was not very important at all. So we can all agree here, right? All three of us, right? We're good with this one.
I think they all didn't care about this series in terms of
everyone knew they were going to get stomped, right? Like,
Asim could have dropped the 0.2 and he'd have still been on the team.
Yeah, it would have been fine. 100% agreed. All good. Then we had the New York Subliners one where this one you at least had to put up a fight. You had to get something out of your guys. And unfortunately,
win a map,
Win a map, or at least you stand out. You know what I'm saying? You got to stand out here. But instead, the guy the standout of this series isn't really, it's Hydra with a 1.27, Geo with a 1.39 in the positives, but it's the downside here is Asim with a 0.63, negative 22, and only 8,500 damage. It's been one of the hardest runs in CDL. Might be the hardest run in CDL history that he's had, unfortunately. And I don't know what to say of it. I don't know what to speak of it. Trey, as a pro, when you watch him play, when you've watched some of these maps and matches, what do you see that's going wrong for him, and what do you think is happening just overall?
To be fair, I will say this. I think this change got overgassed. I think everyone thought that Asim was going to come in with this expectation that they were going to go from what they were, which was, you know, let's say top 6. Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
Sure.
To taking them to top 3s, beating New York and, you know, challenging Toronto and probably beating them. And what I will say is I think that put a lot of pressure on the team too. I think they've gone in there, like you said, the first time you spoke to Attach or heard Attach speak about it, Ace, it was, Asim's came in scrims and fixed all of our issues. And right there and then, I said to you, I said, I don't care. I need to see it in matches. And this is what we got. They didn't fix much. Actually, they didn't fix anything. It actually broke everything. This change did. And Rab Ace, I think you can all, and a lot of people that watch dope checks every single week, I think a lot of you can, you know, now apologize to me for saying this change made them worse, because I said that everyone was calling me a moron.
I mean, well done, Trey. I never doubted you. I just think we've got to address the fact that something must have been different in the matches than in the practice, because like they played a couple of days with the team. They clearly thought that it was going to work. They continued screwing in with a couple of weeks, but this is the worst stint of any player in the league ever for a permanent change. Like it might be in COD history, not even in the league. Like this is a player that's come into the league as a permanent change, has played 4 series, won 0 maps, and has been dropped. Like, you couldn't make this shit up. Like, it actually would be difficult to make this shit up, especially given the way Vegas is looking before. This will go down as the worst lineman card in history. 48. Like, the lowest is 50. And he's on a 48 because of the -4. Like, you might have to do something special with this line. You might have to frame this as, like, this is history.
This sucks. Because like Octane said, like we said last week, this, in my opinion, is probably Asim's last team in the CDL.
Yeah, went positive in 0 maps.
In
0 maps positive.
What is it? What's it? Six CDL team?
Yeah.
I'm not counting, honestly. I'm not counting here.
Been dropped from every single one.
Yeah.
Maybe expansion. Yeah, it's sad to see him go out like this.
Well, I just don't know what it is, but it's the same shit every year. We always talk about it. How he starts the year well, and then it gets to March and he falls off. Like, why is this? And then people keep picking him up in April, thinking he's going to be good, and it's like, I feel like we've seen this play out before. It is sad. I mean, like, we don't want to like just trash on a pro that's not having a good time. But like, as soon as I saw Asim tweet out, well, it's just not meshing. Like, you know, want to get it fixed up before the major. I'm like, you ain't seeing the major, buddy. Like, you know, respect.
I would respect. Like, I would love to see their scrim results, because I know I know players gas their scrims.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Dylan said. He said he came on and wow, they're looking so much better and everything was great and scrims are going well.
Players always gas their scrims. They never. I think the only time no one's ever gassed their scrims is me when I said we got shit on for a whole month in Vanguard. People have got to start, you know, stop giving this like. If your scrims ain't going well, let it be known. I'm
gonna take a different angle of all this. While I do agree this may be Asim's last stint in the CDL for maybe, I hope not forever, but for some time, I want to put some context here to things, because to make it fair, right? To make it absolutely fair for Asim and what he was facing and what he was challenged with coming into this team. His 4 matches that he lost were OpTic, FaZe, Subliners, and we could say a rising surge, right? A fresh surge. 3 of those are not really winnable. And Vegas weren't having much success against the top 4 teams. That was actually their biggest plight, right? Remember, they were always good against the bottom teams and just couldn't crack any of the top 4. The Surge match, we go to that. He actually doesn't play the worst. He has a .81, GL .73. He actually has a decent, not great damage, but decent damage in a series that's winnable, quote unquote, for them. That's where I want to give him that grace. That there's 3 matches there that they shouldn't have won anyways. They're going in there knowing they're losing. So he's set himself up, unfortunately, in almost the worst situation possible. And then separately, I don't know who made the decision here to put this card out in the middle of the stage. I think it was fucked up. Truthfully, I believe this was a fucked up decision to put out this card and kick a man while he's down. And I don't know if it's ever been done before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have we ever seen a single card come out for a player mid-stage?
We did literally do it with Flames the other day. For Assault.
For a positive. For a positive. And I'm all about the positivity.
That doesn't matter, brother.
It works either way. It works either way. Like
there was storylines around Asim.
I don't know. To me, it seems like very negative dick riding all around. That's all I have.
Negative dick riding.
It's negative. It's negative dick. Should
I mean, we see it in every single sport ever. What's the difference?
Do we?
Yes, it happens in football all the time. Sancho literally went 007, didn't have a goal or assist, and he was one of the most expensive wingers to be bought for Manchester United. And they literally edited him in a James Bond suit live on TV in front of millions.
I would wait. Actually, so to be clear, I would have preferred a meme. I don't mind if like Gersh comes in and makes some funny phase meme about this. I don't mind that. That's different. It's comedy. There's something funny to it. But this just seemed in bad taste and in bad timing. Because it was basically right after the series was over. It was like pretty not too far off. This came out. So I just think it was a little messed up to kind of like, you have JCap right here agreeing, Kismet agreeing as well. He's not even on his team, right? Kismet's not even, he beat Asim, honestly. So it was really weird.
Kismet shot his body 2 hells into this game.
I think it's
not an equivalent.
I think it's only bad taste because he's our friend. I think that's only bad taste because he's our friend, which is fair enough, but literally happens in every single sport ever.
Like if this was Sib, would the community be saying, "Oh, it's so unfair, poor Sib man, poor little man"?
Oh, Dante,
no, they'd be saying,
Dante?
Yeah, Dante, yeah. They'd be saying, "Oh, little man, get roasted. That's what you get, buddy."
Let's keep this 100% real as real fucking human beings. Yeah, if this was Exceed Burger King card last in MW2, we would literally be on here laughing at it.
We did do that, but that was not dropped in the middle of a stage, to be fair.
No, but I'm saying if it was dropped in the middle of the stage, we'd all sit here and laugh at it. So I'm gonna respectfully take this as, Asim's my friend too, but
it's not even the friendship part of it. It's again, I'm agreeing with Kiz, who has a good perspective on it, and I'm agreeing with the legend and JCap that this is some weird shit to do right after they take L's and he's not having a good stage. I think if the news about him getting released or dropped or whatever whatever that is factual, then releasing it would have made sense, right? Now he's not in the league anymore. Then you could say his CDL tenure this is what he's done in it during this stage of it. Okay, fine. But doing it right after basically an L, it was like same day, right? May 4th. They played on May 4th, I think. Right? Wasn't it right after? If I'm not mistaken. Literally day of.
I mean, I think it was the day of. I think there's an interesting nuance here because like in the world of regular sports, this would not be considered to be problematic at all. I think your point, Trey, on the players that people like and dislike affects the reaction is definitely true. But I think it's also like how tight-knit the community is. Because I made this point in the video that in the COD scene, everyone, the players, the commentators, the fans, the content creators, whatever, like what we're trying to do, we all want the best for the community, right? Like I think there's all a feeling that COD competitive as an ecosystem is not as successful as it could be. And there's a feeling that we're all kind of in the same boat, ship together, trying to get this to where we think it belongs. In regular sports, where the sport is solidified, That doesn't really happen. Like, it ain't about that. The NBA is a thing. The NFL is a thing. Football is a thing. Soccer, whatever. Like, they ain't going away. So, and also people aren't like, as tight knit as we are in a smaller community. So there's a feeling that whenever a player is, disrespected or slammed in a certain way, it feels different just because of the way the community is, as opposed to, it's like the CDL hater central account. I find it hilarious. But
to be fair,
obviously
though,
it gets criticism.
Before you go, Trey, I'm getting cooked. Just because I'm getting cooked, let me say one thing before you go. A lot of people have trouble listening in context to certain things that are said here. I'd be okay with BP tweeting his face on a literal burger. I'd be okay with that. I wanted that to be clear. If there was comedy to it, if there was something funny involved, I'm all about some funny shit.
I think that'd be worse.
No. See, listen, that's the thing, though.
This guy endorsed
I'm okay with some funny shit because there's some creativity to it. Okay, people are talking about it, whatever. But the official, sanctioned card of qualifiers, only 4 matches in, this was the weird timing and bad taste of it. This is what I'm saying.
So if Asim's face was on a burger with a 48 rated card and the stats still there,
no, not the card, not the card. No, not on the card. I didn't say on the card. Damn, son. See, this is what I'm saying with listen. This is where I'm saying the listening part.
This is just stats. All it is stats. You can go find these stats on Breaking
My brother,
Point.
but similar to the chat right now. What's the context of when this was released?
Motherfucker, but Lion Man releases cards after an event.
After an event,
true. If you made this card a meme, then Ace would have to support it. That's the rules.
True. After an event, I would have been okay with it.
I get dead last at an event on a Saturday. I get knocked out on a Saturday. Lion Man has my 68 plus rated card out on a Tuesday. What's the difference?
Because everyone's cards are coming out in succession, not just your card individualized. That's the difference. And
I don't know. Lion Man's put me in some stinker of the weeks.
And I will give you that there is some cheese I'm saying because it's Asim. I'm gonna acknowledge that. I'm not gonna fucking back down from that point. But I would defend any individual player besides maybe earlier this season Snoopy, if this was the case with any of them. Whether it could be a random person. It could be, I don't know, who do I not have any thought about? It could be Diamond Con, right? I don't have no positive or negative about Diamond Con, but if Diamond Con's having a bad stint and they dropped a 48 card of him right after a match, I'd be like, bro, that's a little weird to do. Right after a match, no context, it's not burgers of the week. It's not anything. It's right after your match, your card. Matches aren't done for the weekend, and we're dropping your card right now. That's a little of odd taste to me. Any player, regardless.
Lion Man, let's come up with some new shit. Player of the weekend, burger of the weekend.
I'm always down for that.
I'm okay. Yeah,
I started doing that on my F1
channel. If that becomes a thing, God bless. I'm with it. No problem. There you go. We figured it out. There you go. If that becomes a weekly thing, if we get a weekly thing segment of this, a weekly segment, then it's been done for good. Otherwise, I think it's kind of messed up.
How high would this card have to be for it not to matter? Like, if Asim had not played as bad and it was a 68 rated, if Lion Man photoshopped it to be 68, people wouldn't care as much. I understand why it's a frustrating point. But...
Yeah, it's definitely a sour thing, but it's no different to clicking on someone's stats and finding the stats. Yeah, we're a tight knit community, everything like that. But fuck it, go for Asim's replies after he's tweeted. If you that, no difference to this cut.
Asim's reply.
Asim's reply. No, not in this. Asim's reply.
Tweeted and then
he's just getting absolutely slaughtered. I feel sorry for the guy. I really fucking do. Right. Obviously,
but also this is a world record. We've got to commend history being made. 48 rated cards is the worst we're probably ever going to see for a stint in the league. So you've got to say, you know what, we've got to recognize history.
He deleted his tweet.
He deleted. I don't even see a tweet. I don't even see a tweet.
Yeah, no, about his tweet about them not meshing well.
Yeah. I guess now he's been dropped.
If someone has a screenshot, DM it to me.
I mean, we were going to look at the replies, and it doesn't really matter. He basically just said,
just said the team weren't meshing well. Hopefully, hopefully we can change it for the major. Obviously, with the rumor and being dropped, he's obviously deleted it because he won't be going to the major. But like I said, he's a professional. He's a grown ass man. I'm sure he would take it as for me personally, if Lion Man tweets that card at me, I'm gonna look at it and think, wow, I'm not doing too well. I'm gonna get back in the lab and start shooting. You know, I'm gonna use it as motivation. You know.
Yeah,
Do I
there's
believe
clearly
it?
something wrong with Asim's play. Like, I think this is evident. As a player, he has lots of positive traits, and we've mentioned them before. How good of a teammate he can be in crucial moments, and how at the start of the year he genuinely tends to be a very solid player. But the fact that he's been on so many teams, has been dropped from so many, there's clearly an issue either with the translation of his play from practice to real matches, or exactly what it is with meshing with different teammates. But we've seen this several times now that he can absolutely fry kids in challenges, turns up to the league, and then whatever team he's on looks mid to bad, and then they drop him. It's like, it's clearly something about Asim's play, and I think I'm with you, Trey. Like, if you're Asim and you're seeing the negative reaction, you're seeing these cards, you've got to look internally, and I'm sure he is, and think, all right, what can I improve to be an actual mainstay? Because he doesn't want to be getting dropped every couple of months, and he might get another chance at some point. Whether he deserves one, I think, comes down to whether he actually improves on whatever these guys don't believe he was executing well on, because it's all too much of a consistent trend at this point. But Asim is gone to our understanding. I put the tweets in the other
for Johnny,
chat.
I believe, which is it.
Ace, if you want to bring him through.
Yeah.
It's a bigger mind blown for me, that one. I was not expecting that. There was also talks apparently about Hixie being brought into the mix, but with Vegas, I don't think that's going to happen with the because it costs money.
Yeah, here comes the breaking point tweet. This is the moment I wanted to look at, was the BP tweet. Before we talk about this, by the way, because that's kind of funny, I gotta lie, going to FaZe Black. But the BP tweet, he took Purge's spot again, basically. He kicked Purge out of Vegas, and now, as he comes down to challenges, he kicks Purge's spot out again, which is incredible.
My God, bro.
If I'm Purge, I'm hating this guy, bro.
Asim is the Purge Reaper.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
This is what Kendrick done to Drake. Just kept releasing diss tracks. Is what Asim keeps doing the Purge. Kendrick has pure hatred for anywhere Purge goes. Asim just robs his spot.
It's kind of crazy how he did that, but I will say in challengers, speaking on challengers too, FC Black has been underperforming a bit as well. To say, the H-Town Sparts have actually been frying right now, and they've won like the last two events basically. So I'm not gonna.
Since you roasted Spot.
Yeah, literally. Since I roasted
this guy's been cooking.
This guy heard me roast him, and he's been on a fucking tear. Absolutely.
I will say we had that questionable stint with Spot and his tweets and everything like that. He's actually he's done his self-reflecting. He's actually come back and been frying and not done anything questionable. So congrats on being a better human being.
Yeah, honestly, you got to say, typical from Spark, because he was wilding out. He was DMing me some crazy shit, and I'm like, brother,
that is because Ace did say he would spark him out next event, but I'd be scared of Ace too, to be honest.
We went to the next event, and he was fine. He was fine. He was doing great. He played well. We walked by each other. No sparks were sparked. Everything was dandy and fine. I like his mom and dad too, so there. I'm gonna
baby.
Put this to bed.
See you
quickly.
in Toronto, brother. We will be there.
Oh, we just
we can instigate it, Rab. Like
Oh,
Spark,
don't worry.
Did you see that episode where Ace said it will spark you out, bro? Like, I wouldn't take this from him.
Just over there.
Yeah, that guy right there.
Listen, I'm all about the COD boxing league. I've talked about this many times. The Nuggets boxing league, the COD boxing league, the CDL boxing league, Warzone boxing league. Let's get it all going and get that going as fast as possible. But yeah,
the Nuggets boxing league.
Purge has joined Boston Academy, so he's joining Awakening, Cammy, Yeez, and Purge. Seems like a good team going ahead. Boston Academy also just lost in the last challengers, like top 32 or something. They got upset. It was top 16 or top 32. They got upset terribly in this last event by some randoms too. So I assume the change is coming for them.
There was a lot of forfeits too, though. I don't know if you guys saw that. A lot of the Activision, accounts getting forfeited. I know Team War got forfeited, like top 32 or top 48, something like that, because the Activision wasn't right on the Faceit website, so they allowed it to be played out of the other team forfeiting them. There was a few questionable names that were in the top 16 this time round.
Yeah, there was some cheese going on with the Faceit admins for sure.
Just the
Pure Jizz is crazy, by the way.
just the duo name of Purge Jizz. Purges is
Purge Yeez, bro.
Purges. Yeah, Purges. Purges.
Purge Yeez. Pure G's.
Gwyn is
They won the Challengers Champs last year, you know?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, never tweet that again, Gwyn. Ever. Ever.
dude.
That pissed me off.
That might be the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. But yeah.
So Asim gone. I think like it was quite evident that the team wasn't working. I think you make a fair point, Ace, that sure, they played teams that they weren't necessarily expected to do that well against, but I'll just link you a quick one here. This is a match that was played earlier on in the season between the previous Vegas team and Toronto at the time, and this was a competitive series that was played right back then. This was hyper competitive, and it wasn't the sort of play that we saw with the Asim in the roster. So for whatever reason it wasn't working, they needed to do something because they're slipping into the point of not making the World Championship anymore. Something had to give. The question is, what do you do? Clearly, I think they were going to get rid of Asim. They could have left it until the major, but I feel like that was not a good idea.
Yeah, I think the biggest point is as well is like they won 2 maps, did they not?
With Asim?
Yeah, or
Zero.
was it no
zero.
no
No,
maps?
It's no map.
No maps at all. There
Zero.
you go. Like that. If they won maps and kept it competitive, you might, might have been able to keep your spot. But 0 maps, 0 and 12. Like,
Record breaking, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is.
So he had to go. The question is, what do? Do you bring back Purge? It was an option. Apparently, it was considered. Do you bring in Hixie? We talked about it on the show. Apparently, that was considered. Again, as we say, Trey, for the European guys, unless you're Beans, unless you're maybe Nasty, who have some visa that's maybe rolled over from the previous season, it's chalked. Especially for a team like Vegas who ain't going to pay for shit. So apparently they considered Hixie. They considered bringing Purge back. And like, I got to say, if you drop someone and then the replacement is so bad you want to bring that player back after dropping them because you thought that was the right idea, I don't tell the greatest picture, I ain't going to lie, Ace. What is this guy doing?
Baby, come back. I need you back with me. Baby, come back. They really were outside his window, and I'm sure he just shooed them off and said, "Nah, I'm leaving FC Black. I'm rejoining Yeez and my boys over there at Boston Academy. I'm not taking my services back to Vegas."
There's no way Purge said no, I don't think. Because he's been kicked off FaZe Black by Asim. Like, surely in an ideal world, he gets kicked off by Asim because he's taken his spot back in the league. They do a swap. I don't know. It seems like they decided that Johnny was the better option. Of course, a man that's been on Legion before.
Yeah.
Alongside the GOAT, Jimbo La.
The choice of Johnny here is probably the most surprising part. Is it another Geo situation where they played him in maybe a random scrim or something and like he was frying? I don't know. I'm very curious. I hope we get to hear from somebody soon, whether it's Attach or Nero or Geo, somebody of the thought process behind this change, if it is true, which it seems like it is now true.
I've got a name. Doug sent some art and he's GMing for everyone else. All of his old teammates. You all eat over here.
You kind of
when you're friends with Doug, you always eat.
Doug might be the Doug might be the guy you need to know. He might be the guy. He might be absolutely Himothy in this league, and you need to know him, or else your chances of getting ahead are not really great.
But Johnny, I mean, he's not even a name that I really considered in the Challenger side this season. Like, he wasn't at the top of my radar. He's a player that I imagine has been playing well in Challengers, but like bringing him back into Legion, it's just confusing, right? Like, of the things that you needed, Purge, we talked about this. Purge provided some leadership. He provided some comms. He provided some, in-game leadership rated activities. To be fair, even as a player, he was getting better after he was on the sub. On a pure statistical perspective, as Vegas that team might not be great, but they were in conversation for being top 5, top 6. Does Johnny bring the things that Purge supposedly brought? Because surely the idea was with the Asim is that, okay, you bring Asim in, he's going to play in some way similar to Purge, but he's maybe an upgrade mechanically, and he's going to do everything that Purge has done. And he's going to get you 2 more kills a series, 2-3 more kills a series. And that's going to be the difference maker in crucial moments. Obviously, that logic was flawed. But we're bringing Johnny in to what? Get some more kills. Because he wasn't bad when he was in the league on Legion a couple of years ago. He didn't set the world on fire. But it's like, is he bringing the things that Purge brought and that Asim was meant to bring? I don't see it.
I didn't even know he played this year. I that's not me being like, for one, I'm not in tune with challenges that much, but I still keep up with like who's winning and who's at the top of the game, whatever like that. Johnny's just name hasn't popped up for me. I don't know if am I faded in that or no?
I'm looking for his stats either in challengers or when he was in the league. I'm trying to look for him right now. I'm trying to find him right now. Don't see him. But yeah, I haven't. That's what I was very surprised about. I haven't heard much of him, and I'm very curious where the idea of Johnny came about. And maybe it was Gio said it. I don't know, but where does someone think to just grab him out of every possible COD player, all the ex-pros, right? You have people on FC Black. You have the Boston Academy team. You got a lot of guys you can pick from, but out of nowhere, Johnny's the name mentioned and the one they pick up. So
this is the same thing that I said about Flames. You know, he wasn't doing the best in challenges. He wasn't frying in challenges. He wasn't winning in challenges, but he's come out of challenges into this LAG team and made it competitive again. So, you know, you don't always need to go for the top performers. Obviously, you know, that's just the easiest market to go for. You know, they won that challenge event. We'll pick up someone from there. So maybe they've done a bit of research and realized that, you know, Johnny's for them, which I'm okay with.
I have this right here. So this is, I don't know if chat, if you guys can't see it, I'll just zoom in a little more. But these are his MW3 placings, I guess, so far in the cups. He was with Lord Gaming a lot of the time, and his most recent one, he actually got second.
I heard he got second in the elite and had a 1.05, and apparently had a 1.2 at the last LAN or something like that.
Major, Paul X, him, and Yuli. I actually watched that final. I didn't even register that. I was watching Johnny. I was watching for Mike, honestly, more than anything. Major Maniac. Well, I guess, yeah, second, 5-6. Hasn't really had too great of a year, to be honest, but maybe he might shock us. Maybe he's Flames 2.0. Flames has been playing pretty well. Maybe we get a 2.0 version of that. I would love to see him come in and be the glue. I know I said this about Asim, and chat's going to roast me. I don't even want to look at the chat on my right side right now. But hopefully he might be the glue that they need. And if it's not him, truly, they just got to bring Purge back. Like at the end of the day, he was doing something. And if maybe it's a confidence issue, he goes to challenges, fries a little bit, comes back and does some work. But you may just need to bring back your original piece and keep it going.
You can't bring him back.
You don't think it's possible?
Bring him back, it ain't going to be the same.
Damn.
Also, how does that look like logistically, right? Because they cut him from the roster. So I'm pretty sure the way it works, Trey, is like when you cut him, you have to pay them 2 months of pay.
Yeah.
To take it to the end of their deal. But it's like, so once you've cut him, if you bring him back, how does that even work? Because you're already doing this weird like severance thing. Could you just bring him back and say, screw it, we'll pay you to the end of the season?
No, he gets his 2 months and bring him back on.
But it's like there was only 3 months to the end of the year. It's what confuses me, right? It's like they could have kept him on the bench and paid 3 months of salary, but they cut him and they're paying 2 months of salary. Like Vegas is saving what, like $3,000, which maybe is significant for them doing this, but surely it's got to be worth considering that option.
Listen, he ain't going back. Listen, if your ex cheats on you and you go back, you're a moron. You know, it ain't the same. If
and
you
now
go cheats
they're dropping a Asim and they got to pay 2 months to him.
Exactly, it ain't the same. If you go cheats on you, it ain't, and you go back, it ain't the same. If Purge goes back, they ain't gonna be the same. So they're gonna have to get someone else in.
I fear Trey is correct on this as well, but I also feel like it might genuinely be their best option.
Yeah, that's my flip side though. It might be like, bro, we made a mistake. It is what it is. You got to come back. Will it be the same team? I doubt it, because also their chem is gonna be off. New maps, new modes. Separately though, I did find Johnny's time in the league on Paris when he's on Paris Legion, 0.85 in Major 4 qualifiers of Vanguard, and then I think he got dropped here, but this is actually Major 4. Major 4, 0.88. So his time stint in the league was a 0.85 during qualifiers, 0.88 at the event. Not fantastic, not terrible, but not fantastic at all. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how it's gonna work out for Vegas.
I just don't know what they do, because like, okay, you've got rid of Purge. You're paying him 2 months' salary to get rid of him. You now get rid of Asim. You're paying him 2 months' salary to get rid of him. You're bringing in Johnny. If it don't work, what do we do? Like, is Asim going to be benched and they might bring him back? Like,
Nah,
are we going to drop another player?
This is Vegas, bro. They don't keep players on the bench.
Right, these guys, like, okay, maybe the team
Right,
made
listen,
this decision, but the org is fraudulent.
Vegas fucked themselves over by dropping Purge.
Right, they had champs on a platter, on a silver platter, because there's some other dog shit teams in this league, and now they're scrambling to get back in there. And Johnny is surely not the answer.
Listen, the issue was, and this is what killed them. All right, they didn't drop Purge after the major. They dropped him after a 1-on-1 split in the league in online matches. That's where you fucked up.
He played perfectly fine in that split as well.
That's where you fucked up. If you were gonna get rid of Purge, you get rid of him after the major, not 2 matches in where you go 1-on-1. That's unacceptable. That is by far one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen.
I agree fully. The only other shot I would give in terms of players to replace with if this goes badly, unfortunately, he's out because of, he said, some reasons behind the scenes, personal reasons. But I think Reese Vivid would make a lot of sense on this team. I think for Vivid on this team, you actually have something there that could be.
I mean, back with Nero, like makes so much sense, no? At least Vivid and Nero, like, sure, their time on Boston was up and down, but when they both played well, like, we know that they can play well on each other. They can get like top 4 platings, which is what they did at a point in MW2 before it all went tits up, of course. And
give Reese the chance to be more on the flex side with an AR with some of these maps and stuff too. I think you have some success on this team. I think he could run both roles pretty well. And if he wasn't going through this personal thing he mentioned,
he said
Twitter,
that things are going better. I know that he tweeted out like things are on the up. Maybe you said, so he may be available soon. Would be my hope.
This was Vegas's.
Vivid the Warrior, it is.
Oh,
this was Vegas's like redemption year. You know, we were literally looking like, oh my god, they're reformed. They're not looking like them. They're not the Vegas coin. They're not the Paris coin anymore. This was their redemption, and they go and fuck it up.
How hard can it be, man?
I literally promise you, if Asim came in after the major and not 2 matches in, I promise you this team looks different with Asim.
They also had quite a long time. Like, there was a big gap between Major 2 and Major 3
That's my point. That's my whole
Literally
point.
2.5 weeks they could have had a practice.
That was 2.5 weeks of practice.
At least they would have known. They could have brought Purge back then if they wanted. You know what I mean? Ugh.
They could have tested out Asim in scrims. They could have, they'd be like, oh shit, it's not working. We're keeping Purge. Listen, this is why I feel sorry for Asim. All right, yeah. Like, you've got to perform no matter what, right? He didn't perform, but he's coming in halfway, like midway through a fucking split. Like, that's unacceptable. Like, it's not like they were getting. It's not that they were getting shit on and Asim's come in. They went 1-on-1 and then he's come in and they got shit on. At least give him yes, I understand he's been shit on, but he didn't even give him a chance. Like, he literally had 2 days of scrims before playing FaZe. Like, fuck me.
It is such a wild timeline. It's like an actual permanent change that they tried to make. That he came in after the start of a split of online qualifiers, and he's leaving before the end of the same set of online qualifiers. Like, what is this? Like, we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, it's how flimsy the CDL is too right now. It's how quick people are swapping it out, how flimsy rosters are. No one's spot is really that safe unless you're in the top 4 or you're the best #1 person on your team. Your spot is up for grabs 100%. But I will say here, Vegas have a chance to at least have some momentum going into Toronto. Their last match is against Boston. This is also just unfair for the Asim train as well because Johnny's going to come in and fucking cook Breach. Watch. He's going to come in and look like a superstar shooting against Breach. And
this is Asim's former team as well. Like, they could have at least let him have the revenge game, huh?
Yeah.
Asim usually does quite well in revenge games.
It's just it's a very bad situation all around. But I think we've hit every nail. I think we've shut the coffin on this one overall. Any other final points on Legion or the Asim situation overall, guys?
Well, I don't see him making champs.
Oh, okay.
I don't see him making champs anymore. They don't look good. Like, even the other 3 players, they don't look that good anymore either. Like, I do feel like this whole change fucked up the whole dynamic, and now they've got to try and get back into it. 2 changes mid-split. Yeah, it ain't happening for me.
The league is also so competitive at that point that it's like an F1 people always talk about, especially at the moment in quali. Like a single 10th can be the difference of 5-6 places. And I think you see that in the league because Vegas, during stage 2, we've got to clarify, they were probably not as good as they appeared because they had a very weak schedule for their opposition. They went to the major, they got top 8. Like, it weren't great. They probably should have been top 6. We know the Purge play in the round 11, whatever. But let's say they come top 6, top 8, whatever. Still wasn't great. They probably were a top 6 team at that point. Probably that's fair. But the difference between being top 6 and being top 10 is super marginal. Like, it doesn't take much for you to go from being in that spot to being way worse with just one change or a couple of other teams improving and just bottling a couple of crucial moments. And when you actually look like the 12th best team, as in the worst team, then it's absolutely tragic. So, yeah, my feeling is that it's chalked as well, Trey. I think I'm on board with the full decline for Vegas. It's a sad thing to witness, but hopefully this would be, wouldn't it, the absolutely fairy tale ending to the Vegas Legion storyline. Shit organization, never tried from day one, never put in the effort, never made any content, never tried to actually grow the scene, was just here to spend the least possible amount of money, get their money back from the franchise spot, and hopefully just fuck off out of here because as an organization, they've pissed me off from day one. They're not about it in the way that organizations should be. As much as we clown on the Boston Bottlers, at least they try. Vegas have added nothing to the league for a long time, and it would be poetic, not for the players, it would be unfortunate, but for the organization, it would be somehow beautiful if they had an actual golden goose in front of them with a genuine team that was actually going to make champs. They threw it away because of poor decisions, either from the players or from management. They don't make champs, and they sell their spot, somebody buys it out, and I don't have to deal with the bloody Vegas Paris Legion ever again in my entire life.
On that fucking bombshell, let's go to the next team.
You guys can't hear what I just did, but I just dropped the fucking DJ sirens right now after Rab just cooked them that hard. God damn, Rab. Scathing. Unbelievable.
What's his name again? Oh.
Who? The owner of Legion?
Yeah.
I know you're talking
Drew
about.
or something.
Yeah, Drew caught.
My bad, Drew.
The fuck he do to you? Yeah, what did that fool do to you, bro?
Actually, no. Fuck Drew. He said he was gonna pick me up in MW. Fuck you too, Drew. I'm joking.
It's the same shit when they could have had Pred and Hydra, and they passed up on that opportunity. So,
That's
all I'm
fair.
gonna say is when they eventually leave the league, good riddance.
Let's go to the Rocker.
Yeah, let's do the Rocker.
Let's talk
Because this is
about
another.
Rocker.
I'm not gonna lie. Rocker were my most hated organization in the league for some time. I don't really have vendettas, but Rocker pissed me off for years because during Cold War, they were the Game 5 merchants, man. I was trying to get to sleep at a reasonable time, and these guys were going Game 5 every single series. It was almost like they were doing it to take the piss. It was so consistent. They might as well have just started out at Game 5. As soon as the series began, it was that consistent. I know it was all Major Maniac, it's never chalked. But as I say, I think I've come to accept over the last couple of years, especially with the G2 thing, that, Rocker as an organization, they've got good people over there, that they're trying to make things work. And while they don't always make great decisions, and I believe that's continues, they're earning their spot in the league. So I hope that continues. Just for example, if the league became a partnership model where the league itself decides which teams they partner, not which teams actually will pay them the money, are they choosing to partner with Vegas Legion? Absolutely not in a million years. Are they choosing to partner with Minnesota Rocker and G2? Yes. So
Brody goes back to cook him one more time. We're past the segment.
I went back one more.
He said, no, I got one more for you. I got one more. Damn, son.
Last time was so nice. I had to do it twice.
He had to do it twice, baby. Okay. I'll set the Rocker take, I guess. Tough matchup. You're playing Ultra coming out the gate. You're 2-4. You do have a chance at winners bracket. So this win probably would have, if they managed to sneak by with it, it would have managed them a spot. I think in winners if they won this one right here. the credit I'm going to give Rocker that I've been giving since the beginning, and I know Trey's going to come for my neck with a harpoon, bow, for me, is probably the only team, and at least the most consistent team to take the top 4 to close maps and long series is Rocker. They're the ones who just, in my opinion, can't get over the edge of just beating them. It's always close and contested. Even this Ultra Series, the control. If Tom Linz doesn't die at the end when he falls off, and the kill, actually the death in there's a death right before that too. That's 2 lives right at the end of the game. If he doesn't die those 2 times, they win that control. That search and destroy. If one round goes differently, they win the invasion. The 6-star was a little, I would say that's probably the one that wasn't close. But again, it's the theme of Rocker throughout the year that I've noticed, and we've talked about on this show many times. They always get so close to pushing the best of the best, pushing the series, winning it, game 5, surprise win, upsetting maps, but they can never just close it out. And this is another case of it, in my opinion. It's another case of it. Here, the theme continues.
Yeah, you know my take on it. Listen, they ain't the greatest, are they?
Yes.
They ain't the greatest. A
5th,
3-2
motherfucker,
win
5th.
Yeah, they're still lingering on that 5th place because they had one good major.
The only
9
team,
and 17.
the only
Series
team out of the bottom teams that pretty much had a good major. Let's keep it a buck.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, LAG.
A different team. Fair. That's fair. We'll give them a little bit.
LAG get top 6 with us. LAG get top 6 with assault hour.
They don't have their Land Reaper anymore. Okay, it's done for them.
All right, listen. I like Minnesota as a team, but I will say they're still not meshing. That's the issue. I like the players on the team. They're just not meshing. Now, I don't know if they need extra time practicing or anything like that, but to me, yeah, they keep it close, but they beat a Boston 3-2.
Doesn't count.
No, I'm saying like they beat a Boston 3-2. They should do better than that. S&D, Ace, you said we said they need to win an S&D. They're struggling to win an S&D, like struggling to win S&Ds like consistently. That if that's their bread and butter, they need to win them. They can't go 1-1. And I think with Ultra, they're pretty vulnerable this split. Their S&D is not looking great. They're getting better at hardpoint. Envoy still didn't have the greatest of series. And they're still, that's when you need to capitalize on it. Envoy still didn't have the greatest of series. Yeah, they lost 6-5 in the S&D, but that we're talking they're very good at S&D, Ace. They still not beating teams in S&D, and even when they are, they're not doing it convincingly. That's my issue.
Okay. They're not beating them convincingly is an interesting thought, and they have been a bit. They're not. I wouldn't say they're inconsistent. Actually, their best game mode, right? If we take a look at the actual completed matches, right, or the team standings for Major 3, they're 4-4 in Search. They're 2 in. Their respawns, I think, is more what we should be talking about, right? My argument on this very show was their Search is what's gonna take them. Makes them scary. It's gonna take them to the end. Their Neslo opportunity is gonna be there.
Yeah, and that's my point. Is that they're 4-4, but if that's what's gonna take them, they need to be better than 4-4. They need to be 6-2. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about them. We talk about them being a Neslo team, like which I'm okay with agreeing with you, Ace. All right, I just don't think they're gonna do it. I'm okay with saying they're a Neslo team because I think hardpoint they're too slow of a team. I'll say that right now. I think they're too slow. S&D 4-4.
Their MO for the last 5 years, man.
I think S&D they need to have a better record in S&D for this. 6-2 is where I'd put them to give them that S&D prowess and take it to a last map. And then control. They're 1-5 in control. Like, it just ain't good enough.
Where I will be definitely a critic is the respawns in control specifically. It is a bit concerning how I think the difference between the first rocker variation to what it is now is their respawns did look a lot stronger. And specifically in control, I feel like Linz and Standy should be having a good time. I feel like they're very skilled players individually, and I've said this before, control is just glorified TDM, so those players should be having a heyday in glorified TDM. Gunless is good as well. We saw him perform pretty well against Toronto, actually, so we know he can shoot. Lamar will get on the point for you. Lamar will coordinate what's going on. Why they're not good at control is a little beyond me. Hardpoint, I can see them struggling. We've talked about the pacing of the subs a bit too. We've talked about it on the show before. That I could see it a little bit, but S&D and control, I think would be where I give them strength, and it's surprising to me that in control they're not closing out, looking stronger, and really taking advantage of map 2 and map 3 to push series to map 5s.
I think my concern is with this team is that at the start of the season, Accuracy was playing on a good level, like absolutely, alongside Big Wake, and sure, Big Wake wasn't performing, and maybe that left the door open for Lamar to get more kills. I don't think Lamar's changed as a player between now and then. Like, I think Lamar's been the same player for the last couple of years, but like last season and the season before that, Accuracy was not great on Seattle Surge, on the pure numbers, but he was doing what was necessary and he had the pieces around him. The start of this season, Accuracy was playing well. I don't know if that was ever going to be maintained. Regression to the mean. I wasn't expecting Lamar to keep up, 1.0, 1.05 for the season, which means you've got to have an AR alongside him who's going to slay. And right now, the problem is that Accuracy and Gunners play so similarly that I don't think you're ever going to get one of them playing well while the other one's playing well at the same time. And I think it's the same for their SMGs. This is the concern I have on this team. Is like, I don't think you're ever going to see all four of them positive.
That was my point. All four of them together, like, we ain't going to see that. In terms of, like, we ain't going to see them all above in the range between 0.98 to 1.1. I don't think we'll ever see that. One of the ARs and one of the subs, I feel like is always going to have a little bit of a stinker rab.
With this team dynamic, like Linz and Stanley play very similarly. Accuracy and Gunners play very similarly. They're very slow, generally. And that can work in certain game modes, but in hardpoint against the faster teams, I think you're just going to get slammed, to be honest. Like when you play teams like FaZe and OpTic, I just don't see how Rocker actually compete right now. So this just seems to me like another classic Minnesota Rocker team that Looney's put together where they have no pace, and it's just concerning to me. Just because they're not that far ahead of where they need to be, right? Like they're only 20, 30 points ahead of the World Championship cutoff, and if it wasn't for that major one good result, they would be right in the mix, and they still are in the mix. But I just don't think they're playing badly enough to warrant any changes right now.
No changes needed. It's just they're in a scary spot because 120 points, when you look at the grand scheme of things, isn't that much. That's why it's.
I don't know. To me, it's seeing them play it out, right? Looking at the stats is one thing, but when you actually watch them play it out, week by week, they had Ultra this week. Tough test. They kept it close map 2 and map 3. To me, the team is developing, right? The subs are finding how to play with each other. The ARs are kind of figuring out how to play with each other. The patterns, like I think I would agree with you guys that the patterns of these two players, the duos are like a little bit interesting to mesh with, right? It takes some time to get that going, but I think all four of them are talented players on an individual basis, right? All have their strengths. It's just getting them on the same page, playing together more and going to a major, that it's going to be the most critical thing. And coming up, this match against Carolina is going to be that momentum swinger that, you win this one going to Toronto. I think you see the in winners bracket and a good momentum going into that major. If you lose this one, though, I don't know. That's when the scenes get a little scary. Starting out of losers, losing to a team that you in your mind probably you should beat. That's where I think some darkness lies ahead if you lose to Carolina here.
I mean, Carolina are a scary team right now too. they're not exactly
They played
like
pretty well.
frying
They're going to
everyone.
have Clay
Yeah.
back in the venue, we believe.
They're playing teams well, and that's what's scary about it. Because, like you said, Ace, they didn't exactly get slammed by Ultra. You know, kept it close map 2 and 3. And then you got Ravens, who, you know, should have, I guess, maybe took the first map off phase, which not many people do. So it's a weird situation for them to be in. I just think, you know, they've really got to lock in and decide how they're going to work it out, because, yeah, like, I think if you look at like their past matches, like one of the ARs and one of the subs is always doing pretty bad. Like, it's, I don't mean pretty bad, but like going negative. Like, they're not doing it together. It's always, I feel like someone's getting heavy baited or something like that. And I don't know how you really change it, but what they do need to do is they need to win these S&Ds. You know, they need to win these S&Ds, figure out and control, beat the Neslo team, the Minnesota Neslo team that they are every single year. Because in my opinion, I think they're too slow for hardpoint.
Rocker or Ravens?
Rocker.
Okay. In this matchup, because again, we have to talk about, just to make clear to everyone watching, this is a winners bracket match. This determines who goes into winners. Like, loser. This is it. This is the big matchup here. So
listen, you wouldn't know because the league don't tell you, but we fucking will. This is a big fucking match.
Yeah, bring up that Doug Levy tweet actually, because I know you have it.
Perfect time for it. Perfect time for it.
It's
actually
quite fascinating actually to see this, because this is not usually the case at all. That we have pretty much just straight up 2 head-to-heads. It's Minnesota Ravens, right, and then Gorillas Miami, and the winner will go in, the loser will go home. These odds are not 50-50 just because it's considering who should be the favorites on paper based on results with like some sort of ELO score. So that's why Minnesota are favored against Ravens. But yeah, we don't see this very often. Boston are guaranteed losers. Ravens or Vegas are guaranteed losers. The other teams are guaranteed winners, and we have it literally doesn't matter. It's like 3-2, 2-3, whatever. Will secure winners bracket. So yeah, Minnesota versus Ravens for winners, Gorillas Miami for winners. Going to be very important for the season. I guess we don't know seedings quite yet.
No, not yet.
So that'll be determined.
But so let's go through those 2 matches. I want to do the Rock one just very quickly.
Sasha pops up as soon as we see Boston 0-5, 100% losers chance. Austin's on the keyboard.
He popped in?
Bro, Austin is hilarious, bro. Austin's been sat in the stream for 2 hours and 41 minutes waiting for some Boston cheese, and he comes and gets it.
Oh, such makes a good point. Cue the Bond theme song. Have we still 0-7 so far? We must have done that.
We have not had 1-0-7 this year, no.
We not? Wow.
We're about to get one.
Well, baby.
We're about to get one.
Can they do it? Can they do it? Not if my coach Sleepy has anything to say about it.
Who did they play?
Boston. We said earlier. Boston played. They play someone that they're gonna lose to. They play.
They have 2 more games. I think.
Oh, Ultra and Legion.
Yeah, so Legion's gonna get their first win with Johnny, and Johnny's gonna look like a superstar. And then Toronto Ultra are gonna just play with their food, and that's it.
Nah.
Jeej, brother.
I mean, look at that. LLLL.
We got Gwyn coming in here too. Heard y'all didn't like my didn't fuck with my duo name for Yeezy and Purgeon. I didn't win, but
I didn't say it. I didn't say anything.
Nah, Gwyn, that was all
favor.
me. That was all me. I said never tweet that again, but you're frying, so I'll allow you be Rookie of the Year. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Rookie of the Year. I put my cash on that at the start of the year under the advice of Donny Temp.
We have Ina coming in. Legion will absolutely not beat Boston.
Ina's a hater, dog. Now, to be fair, like Boston's hardpoint has actually been quite good.
That might be the worst best series of the year.
Dude,
I think I might watch that one.
Ina saying that they're not gonna beat Boston means they're absolutely gonna beat Boston. I just want to make that known. Absolutely, they're gonna beat Boston for sure now. But
Ina, no gun knowledge.
Speaking of these 2 critical matches, though, we have Clayster, Gwyn, and company, TJ and Fellow going against Rocker for this winners back match. The biggest thing for me here, though, I want to say the biggest thing for this matchup. S&Ds, they're fairly similar. They're actually doing a little bit better record-wise in S&D, but the critical mode for me is who comes out heavier in the hard points, and then the controls, it's the controls and the hard points, all the respawns, bro. The S&Ds, I think, is like up in the air. Either team can win them, it's whatever. But whoever's shooting that day, if Gwyn comes in with another 1.2, 1.3 performance, Rocker in for some fucking trouble. But it's really up in there in the response. Who just comes in shooting in that first hard point, and then who takes the S&D? I think is the momentum swinger for who wins the control. That's my opinion. Obviously, I'm siding with the Rocker boys. Gwyn, I'm sorry, my bad, gangster, but I'm siding with the Rocker boys on this one. And he takes
Ace and Rab. Before we start getting into some more teams, do we have a dope check bet against Ina, dog? $100 bet.
Okay, let me
that
wait.
$100 bet that Paris will not beat Boston. So we take Paris, she takes Boston. Do we run it up as a 3-man team?
Like, I'm not on board with this because I'm actually.
I
you
can't
guys
bet.
can take it on.
I can't bet.
It's got to be you, Trey. I mean, I'll bet a round of drinks on it because fuck it, that'll be fun.
I can't even do that. So yeah,
I'm not
this is
betting
all you
$100
two boys.
because,
Guys.
because I also will be picking Boston in this series. Legion are fraudulent, and I've just spent half an hour gassing up Snoopy. So you know what I mean.
We'll get 'em next time.
Wait, Trey, what the Trey? Are we agreeing? Are we going against Rab? We want to jump this fool? Rab, what are you talking about, fam?
I've lost my co-presenter.
Wait,
Rab,
wait, yeah.
Rab, I see you've got a nice shirt on. You been doing drugs?
No, we can take the chow. I'll take the chow. I'm down. $33, that's nothing anyway. Not to us. But, I mean, we can chuck a couple zeros on that. We won't notice it leave the account, huh?
Dude, the way Trey said that shit is so goddamn funny. Oh my god!
If you guys didn't know, we're very rich over at Breaking Point, so we'd do a $100,000 shout. It would not matter us.
Yeah, it's all you guys, dropping the subs,
Wait,
pressing the subscribe button, pressing like.
Rab. Honestly, what's your reasoning? I don't get it. Why?
What do you mean? Reasoning on what?
Just because Legion's
Boston
brand new?
beating Vegas?
Yeah.
Right, these guys haven't won a map in like 4 series.
Yeah, but new squad cheese.
Bro,
Yeah,
Boston
new
are not
squad cheese.
complete dog shit. Like, I don't know. Come on, open the eyes.
You think Johnny's about to come in and get piss slammed? No shot. Not happening. Okay, wait. Wait. Okay, I want you
64 too.
back to the more serious thing. Was Trey does accept your bet. Everyone's a witness. We had 280 people all witnessing what just happened here. The bet has been accepted by Trey, 100%. Let's continue. Carolina versus Rocker. Who do we got? Predictions now. Who makes winners?
I'm
taking Carolina.
Clayster, he's back in the facility. He's there with the boys. We're going to get the Clay facility buff. He's going to bring the energy. And it's going to be the Clay fellow versus accuracy, gunless, worst AR duo in the league, Burger Bowl. And it's going to be Clay and Fellow that come out on top.
Man, I better see a card come out of this series, man. I better see an individual card come out of this series, the Burger of the Week. I better see it. Okay?
What about if it's Lamar?
I better see it. If we're doing it, if we're about it now, we better have it.
If it's Lamar, Ace is about to spark live man out, bro.
No, but it's all good. You just put a cloud emoji behind him or a burger emoji on him. That's fine, That's just a joke.
You gotta put a beam up, bro.
If you give him a 35 rating, but put him on the face of like fucking Wimpy, like you'd be sweet.
Yeah, no, you're good, lad. Don't worry about it.
And then we have the other big matchup for winners: Heretics, LAG. Who do we have?
I think I got to back my boys on Gorillas.
I'm not saying Heretics because every time I say them, they fucking lose. I tell you what, we'll do this as a point. All right, I'm gonna say LAG are gonna win, but Miami will.
Okay. This
guy really is
crazy
never
cheese,
wrong.
bro. This is insane cheese.
Yeah, watch it happen.
Teams are gonna win. I don't know, man. Miami, they could easily win this, but I think Gorillas are marginal favorites.
No,
So
I've
I'm
become
gonna go
such a ever since Real joined the chat. I've been on the fucking hype train, boys.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going Miami. I'm going Miami and Minnesota. I like the M's here. We're taking the Minnesota-Miami train all the way to winner's bracket. Stamp it here. You heard it here first. It's happening that way. Did we I feel like we missed it. Did we miss a team? I feel like we missed a team. I don't know why. I feel like we missed something. Yeah,
How much do you charge for your feet picks, Trey?
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Crazy.
I'm a win, but the
you-
off chance I don't.
LAT.
It's because I cooked you in there, innit, Rab? I said you don't pay me.
Yeah, I got kicked. That's tough. It's all good. I'm paying for your entry into the fucking airport lounge on the way to Toronto. So
That is true. That is true. Me and Rab up in the airport lounge, sipping the finest of wines.
yeah, you know how it is.
We also missed
Man
an
better calm
LAT
down
by the
real
way.
quick.
We also missed LAT by the way.
This team pisses me off.
Why?
Just look at their recent matches. I'm pretty sure they've won. I'm pretty sure they've won them all like 3-2, apart from one, and then lost 1 3-2. Like, motherfucker, can you guys fucking slam someone?
Yeah.
Please. They're such a good, in my opinion, they are such a good team, but they're not slamming anyone. Nasty, very good pickup, by the way. Said that ever since he came in. Very, very good player. Very, very good. Joe Deceives, hate to say it, turn the team around. You know, I don't hate to say it. I don't hate Joe, but, you know, Joe's
He's held
what
his
they
own.
needed.
He's done enough. But there is one man who's fucking putting the boys on his back.
I mean, Ghosty is, listen, if they don't keep Ghosty for next year, Nade, you might need to whack this guy on the Supermax. Fuck the budget.
yeah, they need to use all of that 25 million they're getting back from the league, slap that shit straight into Ghosty's contract offer because
It's
they
and
gotta
listen,
keep
Ace,
him around. Like they have
Ace,
to keep him.
Ace has been right since day one about Ghosty, not about everything else. I'm not gonna give you that.
I have just been getting better and better as well. Like I actually think he's got better every stage. That's the impressive thing to me.
He's the best player not in the top 4 right now, in my opinion.
100%. He might be top 10 player in the
maybe,
game.
Maybe apart from Gwyn and stuff like that.
Okay,
but
I was like, you have some other names that are fighting for that title.
Yeah, no. All right,
Gwyn attached Ghosty. Top 3.
I'm not giving it attached. He's lost 12 maps in a row.
Good Ghosty. I think both of those players are like on the border of fighting to be a top 10 player in the game. They're very up there.
Love it. I love Dylan. I love Mum Attach, but they're 0-12 right now. He's out of my top 10 players.
I mean, if I'm like Toronto, if I'm New York, I'm keeping a close eye on whether Ghosty is acquirable. Like he's always acquirable, but like if you're Thieves, I think what they do with Ghosty in the off season is going to be quite telling as to how serious they're taking it. Because if Thieves are intending to rebuild a championship-winning roster over the coming seasons, because that was the intention this year, it was like, all right, we're going to put pieces together, and by the end of the year, we're going to have found something that's going to help us to get back to where we want to be. Because a player like Draza was a phenomenal pickup.
Mum Attach is in the chat. No.
See, look, you did
my bad.
Listen. My personal agenda is not against a deal or anything like that. It will not change. It's just you're 0-12. That's where.
I know Mum Attach watches the show, so I feel bad.
She does.
But, you know,
Trey, shame on you, bro.
I need to give Kim the biggest hug of all time. I love Dylan. I think he's a great player. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but listen, you're 0-12. It's not entirely Dylan's fault, but he's a part of the roster that's 0-12. But I love you, Kim.
Don't feel bad, Trey. You know, it's just this is.
Yeah,
like,
no, I got to stand on business.
Stand on business, man. This is what we do. But like, if Thieves want to pretend to take, well, not pretend, but if Thieves take it serious next year, they'll keep Ghosty, and then we'll see what they do from there. Depends on what happens for the rest of the season. If they allow Ghosty to get poached, that just isn't a very good indictment, like, of their situation, because Thieves are trying to get back. The way to do that is to find players like Ghosty in the same way that I did with Draza, because Draza was a phenomenal pickup that Thieves made during the Cold War season that, of course, carried them through that next period. He was on OGLA. Draza did a decent job, but on Thieves, he was very impressive and underrated during that season. Ghosty isn't even underrated right now. Like, Ghosty's just straight up a star player. But if Thieves allow him to get poached, because there will be interest from New York or from Toronto or from even OpTic, even though that seems doubtful, depending if things change, then they've just lost a piece that they've spent an entire season building as part of their franchise. So I'm hoping this is a start of the Thieves redemption arc where they're looking good. Next season, they can maybe bring in somebody else. And in the next couple of years, they can have a team that can compete with the big boys.
Yeah, that's more what I was gonna be kind of going after here. The Thieves resurrection, the revival of what Thieves we know as Thieves, world champs, right? World championship organization, highly acclaimed, got date shot behind it, everything that we love. I want to see them back in glory. I want to see them not just be a top 4 in the league. I want to see a top 5 with Thieves being in that 5th spot, and let's say Rocker being in that 6th spot. Big organizations that need to have the money, the budgets to make super teams. We need that for the league to be competitive and be, like Trey said before, like how it was in Black Ops 4 when it was the most competitive. We need money, we need budgets, we need to get that back for it to happen. And Ghosty will be the integral piece of that entire LAT franchise. This is when you talk about a franchise player, right? Boston Breach think they have one in Snoopy. LAT actually have one in Ghosty. This guy is the general. He's doing everything in pretty much every mode. The one weak point with LAT, I think we're seeing with this major, the solo weak point that's causing their series to get extended is their control, right? That's the one thing I think they have to figure out as soon as possible, because we can look at their major 3. 1 and 4 in control. Everything else, though, pretty much positive. 7 and 3 in hard points, 5 and 3 in S&D. So control is the one lackluster game mode they have. And if you look at their team stats in there, no one actually positive. Ghosty and Nasty 0.98s, but Kremp and Joda Sieves definitely not playing as well. If they can get control figured out by the major, I think they definitely have a chance of hitting that top 4 spot above New York even.
I just want them to win a series convincingly. I'm sick of seeing it last map every single time. I have no faith in them winning 3-0. Like, if they go up 2-0, I'm sat there like, yeah, we're going last map anyway, so it don't fucking matter. Like, this team, for them to be, in that discussion, Ace, for top 4, they need to start slamming these teams. Or at least winning more convincingly than 3-2. It shows they've got ice. That's just, I'm happy for that. But they need, to be
control, please. Come on.
Yeah, please. I'm begging. And stop playing high-rise control. I'm begging you, man. Begging you. But the ghosty conversation would be the same as the attached conversation as well. Is if obviously Paris ain't going to be able to lock Dill up like Thieves can lock Ghosty up. Mm-hmm. So then it makes another team competitive next year as well. Because obviously there ain't going to be these super teams about, but I think we can all agree that attach is on a team where I don't want to say. Would you say he don't deserve to be on that team in terms should be on a better team? Playing with amateurs, on the come up type thing like that. How he's having to overperform.
I mean, I have the clip out there too. It's on Twitter already that I think Dylan is the most screwed over pro of all time. I think his talent has been consistent for years.
Yeah, he's definitely tired. Definitely tired. I think with Ghosty, how consistent he is that's what makes him as good as he is. And then, like I said, my recency bias is just this split. To be honest with you.
I mean,
with Legion and Attach, it's hard to be dropping 1.2s when you haven't won a map. So
yes, that's why. Yeah, the recency bias here is hard. And again, if anyone in chat goes, but Ghosty was dropped by OpTic, he got screwed over. I agree, he was screwed over. I think he's the second most screwed over because of the situation. But consistently year after year, that's why my reasoning is with Dylan and Attach, and just continually having some rough situations. Ghosty's that guy, man. He really is. They have the opportunity here in Toronto to actually make a pretty huge statement event for themselves. I think them coming in top 6, top 4, they do that. I mean, going back to the standings, right? One more time, they go from 8th to going to 5th relatively quick.
Have LA Thieves won a game at LAN yet?
I don't think so.
No, I think they've been
dropped. Right, well, there's your test.
I think they're top 12. You can actually tell because they won 10 series and they've got 100 points.
Yeah,
and that
and they have
that means
no, one thing kind of crazy too to think about here too, right? Like Rocker in this kind of dire situation, they could win 1 and go to 130 in standings. These guys have 2 matches left, right? There is a realm of possibility where after these 2 matches, there's a universe where they are tied for 5th in the overall standings if they win these 2.
Then there's also it's a big possibility they beat OpTic too.
That's what I'm saying.
OpTic looking shaky. Like I said, Kenny said on Twitter that their hard points ain't looking that good. Needs ironing up. Even on the COD League post as well. This could be that Rab, that's another series we might be tuning into.
I can't believe it. Another one I might be putting on the list to actually watch.
we might be in for a. I might watch some COD this weekend, ladies.
Oh my god, can you believe it? I mean, yeah, last weekend sorted out the seeds for the bracket, turned it up to the major. And that's right. I mean, Thieves really should have, I mean, maybe not should have beaten FaZe, but bloody hell, like they should have gone up 2-0 obviously on FaZe last event. The team that eventually won the event in convincing fashion. So they've got the potential there. I think we talked about it now for some time, like the team with the upset potential. There's a, let's say dark horse potential, because it's quite clear that, there are the top teams and there are the dark horses. Like no one's ever going to say that New York are a dark horse. We've talked about Ravens, we've talked about Vegas, but I think right now Thieves are the team to watch for me. I don't have enough faith in Rocker against the top teams at all. Gorillas, I don't think that they'll have the firepower in reality when push comes to shove, but there are a few teams that I'd look at in that dark horse category. It's kind of difficult to predict really going into the major who's the team that's going to get the best result. But, I am convinced that one of those teams will get top 4. Like one of these top 4 teams won't make it. It ain't going to be FaZe. Most likely it's New York, possibly Toronto. I also think that there's a world in which OpTic have a real stinker. They did it last year in Toronto. They came top 12, I think. Different team, different circumstances. I don't think it's impossible. So I think that one of those teams sneaks in there somewhere. Thieves are probably the most likely right now.
This guy, dude, what's is tactical hot takes today? What's going on? You're on some super hot takes today, bro.
It's not a crazy take, huh?
OpTic gonna lose the top 4, have a terrible event. Nah, I don't see any of this happening. I see dark horse. I agree. LAT, then Rocker. LAT, Rocker, Ravens are my top 3 for dark horses. If you're going to say anyone who has a chance for top 4, New York definitely have a chance to falter out of the top 4 if they have a poor LAN event here. And LAT are my number 1 team to possibly bump in there because they have 2 more matches left and the major starting in winners. High chance of them to really catch up to that 4th place spot fast.
All right, this is a question.
What's up?
Who bails out top 12 this event?
Who bails out top 12?
We're predicting all 4 teams.
Oh, the 4 teams?
Yeah.
Oh.
The 4 teams that.
Okay, I got it. I'm dropping the first one. We got 3 here, and then we'll concede on the last one. Okay.
Go on.
Okay, I got one. Boston Breach. Got it. Okay, go ahead, guys.
That actually wasn't my one. I don't want to take your thunder, Trey. I don't want to take.
No, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
I'm taking the all-time greatest LAN team in the history of the game. It's the Miami Heretics, baby. No map wins on LAN. Get out of here. Respect Real if you're in the chat. Maybe you can win a map for the boys, but I don't think they've got the dog in them. So Miami are also one of my top 12 teams, respectfully.
All right, for me, Ravens will be going out top 12. I think
Interesting.
I think this is the time we see them go out top 12. And I think this is the time we see them going out top 12 and making a roster change.
But you think they started in winners and still go out top 12?
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
You can't. Wait. Can you get top 12 if you start winners?
Yeah.
That's not
The double rounded is top 12. Yeah.
That's still top 12?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm faded.
Miami have done that shit before.
That's horrendous. If that happens, that's fucking horrendous. Not gonna lie.
So I said Trey don't like Ravens because they didn't pay my bro his bag.
I mean,
and then my 4th team to get last is gonna be the Minnesota Rocker.
Oh, he's done it, man. He's done it.
So I've got tough. Boston. I got Boston, Miami, Ravens, Minnesota.
You agree with that 4th pick, Rab? Do you fucking agree? No, do you agree with that 4th pick?
I might not have a job after this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm trying to think of the matchups here. I mean, it depends, I think, who they play. I wouldn't rule them out. I guess that what I was thinking of is whether I go real hot take and I put one of the top 4 in there. I think one of those top 4 teams ends up top 8. I don't think they end up dead last. I think they're too good for that. So I agree. I think it's Miami. I think it's Boston. I think it's Vegas. And then I got to pick one more. Actually, you know what?
Go on. I was going to say, like, we can reevaluate as well after the
Next week,
matches
to
as
be
well.
fair.
Yeah, but that's
But
my
now I'm
four.
gonna say
yeah.
Boston, Miami, Vegas, and I think it's funny because last week I was talking about how these guys are actually good, but I do think that Seattle Surge are going to be fraudulent on LAN. So I'm going to say that Surge are bowing out.
Surge? Okay, that's interesting. Surge, that's an interesting take. I think this is the hot take. I'm gonna say Gorillas. I'm gonna say Gorillas are not gonna perform the same way they have been with this new team kind of cheese they're going with. On LAN, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a different situation, and I think Assault was a big piece of their LAN experience, leadership, and gameplay. That on LAN, when he would step up and play differently than he does online, it was a big factor for them.
Hot.
I mean, to be fair, I was going to reply to it.
What do you want me to say?
Hot take
OpTic and FaZe are gonna get dropped and go
No,
top
it's like
12?
when you said here's the hot take, I was expecting
I
a
was
New
just- I was-
York drop.
Nah,
you
you
do got to think though, like it is a hot take because they just plays top 6 at both LAN events, so it still is a hot take, really.
That's my. They've been playing well right now. Everyone is presuming them really good right now, and they did good at the last couple lands, which is why my guy B14 Blake thinks that's not a hot take. It actually kind of is a hot take, to be fair. Thank you, Trey.
No problem. See, I'm a stats man myself. I only speak facts and facts only. We stand on fucking business on this podcast, 10 toes. All right. And just like KJ said as well. Yeah, Rab's on business. Look at the suit. Yeah, look at the shirt, unbuttoned too. So you know he's been messing around. You know what I'm saying? Where'd you just come from, Rab? You know, strip club. We know they undo the top button when they go in there. But just like KJ said as well, Ace, you know, looking at this, like we said, that 5 points is gonna fucking hurt Ravens. We say it every week. That 5 points is gonna hurt them so bad.
Bro, the script is written. The script is written that they lose by 5. They're out by 5, and then they're fighting for that spot. Last qualifiers, major 5, their final match of the season. They fight for it, they lose it, and Clay. I don't know if it's done. I'm not gonna call his career done. I'm just saying that's gonna be like the end of this year for Clay, and like in that team is 5 points is gonna be the end of it. It's gonna be the most dramatic script written ever, basically.
And I'm predicting a Clay tweet. There's no way we didn't make champs by 5 points. Laugh at my fucking enough.
Why, bro? It couldn't be. The script couldn't be written more clear. It literally couldn't be fucking better. Holy shit!
Up for the Ravens, boys. But yeah,
I
think that's about right.
If FaZe win, okay. Scraps. We've answered this question so many times about FaZe. If it were the one, they could get in by 5. Yeah, KJ, it definitely could work. They could get in by 5. But just how the script is written, we're telling you guys about the script. It's not.
I've seen the script, man. I've seen the script.
Yeah.
They drafted me in.
Yeah.
I wrote part of the script this year. That's what people always say, that I write the scripts to make the good drama.
Yeah.
And that's damn right, baby.
That necklace is his COD Illuminati necklace right there is actually what it is. All the real members have that. See, Trey has one. I have one right here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know about it.
I'm the leader.
This is why Trey's never wrong. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, got the Illuminati. I got the Illuminati tattooed on me too. So you're all fucked.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? We got to get in there, bro. We got to get in there.
Oh fuck.
Okay, okay. I think we answered this too. Which bottom 4 teams gonna make the loser bracket run this major? The loser bracket run?
Bottom 4 team, he says though. So I guess he means team that starts and loses, or just trash team in general. Like who has the best chance of making a losers run?
To be fair, we just put Boston, Miami, Ravens going out all 4, so it looks like Vegas are making the run, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it has to be.
What about the Boston Breach Masterclass, baby?
Imagine Boston win the event. I'll strip down, run down my street naked. I'll do everything. The next podcast episode, do it naked. Wait, what did I have to do? Oh yeah, but if Boston, full cam, everything. Gooch on show.
The last ever episode.
Our final episode. This is how we get
our final episode. Yeah, if Boston win the event, the podcast is over because we're getting banned on all the platforms.
I gotta get a Boston tat if they make champs. So we're on fucking. Hey, shout out Shorty. We're on fucking track.
Yeah, CMA's been dropped. We think he's actually. This is a question. I think. Does Asim get back in the league? Yes or no?
Overall
At
question?
some point.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point in the future. Is this the last we
Expansion-
ever see from Asim in the league?
Expansion, yes. Regular, no.
I guess, does he play long enough to see expansion? I guess probably,
I mean,
yeah, in that case.
I mean, the rumor is expansion is looking like next year because of all the things, but I don't truly see expansion coming in next year. I'll keep it real with you.
I think we see Asim. I think it all depends on his challenge of success. Because if he goes on to FC Black again and fries the way he was and like plays as well as he was in the start of the year, there's a small possibility that could happen again. But in more likelihood, and this is, I'm going to accept the fact of a friendship league. So chat, context. You guys always forget my context. I'm going to accept the possibility of a friendship league and that he might be on a sub spot in the league versus on a traditional spot to begin with. I think that's how he finds his way back in the league if I was to play the most likely scenario in my head.
I think I probably agree. I think Asim will be back in the league. Like, I know that the stint was shockingly bad, but has it made his stock that much worse? Like, do people think of Asim much differently now than they did before?
Listen, I'm gonna be real.
On a pro level.
This would kill anyone's stock.
It's not been great, has it? It's not quite Fire 40. It's not. It's all about connections. Like,
listen, 0
if
and
the
12
was called Fire 40,
very
it would be over. It would be over.
Like I said, it sucks he went out this way. I truly believe that he got fucked over in terms of being put on a team mid-split, the same as Johnny. He's about to be put on a team mid-split. The issue is that, you know, no matter what situation you put in, you've got to make the most out of it, and he just didn't. Now, the only reason I say that I don't think he will get a team 2 is 6 teams in 4 years, 5 years ain't particularly a great stat.
God awful.
Like
to be honest. Yeah, I'll be real too. It's god awful, to be honest.
That holds some weight.
It's god awful, but again, I think, and the truth of the matter is, good teammate. May not had a good stint. Again, he played three of the best teams in the game. Not a great situation to be in. But I think eventually we do see him. But I think we've been running the show for what, more than 3 hours now. I think we've hit the 3 hour mark. Yeah, 3 hours and 11. About to hit 3 hours in the recording. I think. Any final thoughts, Rab, Trey, for this week of matches? This last week of matches for Toronto. I want to say before we get to final thoughts, if you don't know, we will be in Toronto. If you don't know, now you know. We are going to be in Toronto. All 3 of us, Rab, Trey, and myself, will be doing the watch party. We'll be walking around the venue. If you're there, please come say hi to us. Don't be shy. We don't bite unless you want us to. But it's gonna be a great event overall. If you haven't got yourself tickets to the Toronto Major just yet, we have a link in the chat here from the Nightbot. Definitely if you're in Toronto, if you have the funds available, it's a tough time and stuff, but if you can get there, this is the event every year that you don't want to miss. The Toronto event's always been one of the best ones, always hype, great city, great vibes, great event all around. Please come to this Toronto event if you can. Final thoughts, Rab.
I think
Trey.
some of the tickets are already sold out, so if you guys are thinking about it, could not recommend it enough. That in the Cedar era, the Toronto event's by far the best event that I've attended last year. Top link in the description on the YouTube, or just go to the Breaking Point site, it'll be on there.
I'm gonna keep it real. It's the first event for me this year, so if you don't fucking come see me, there's a big issue.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not around no more. I'm not around no more. I'm like a vampire.
Trey's washed up. Next year he's gonna be, probably out in Riyadh for the X-Defiant World Championships.
Dapping up my boy Ronaldo. What's up? Esports Saudi Arabia World Champion. Yep. Me and big old Cristiano living it up in Nusret, getting fed by Salt Bay. Love life.
I will be starting up the Tactical Rab X-Defiant News YouTube channel. So I will be there on Trey's private jet, straight to Riyadh, Peterborough to Riyadh.
Love that.
Whoa, I've been doxxed.
Unlucky, son.
Just like that. All right, guys. That is going to do it for Dope Check episode 19. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support on all the videos. Our last video, I think, broke another one of our records for most viewership on YouTube. So thank you yet again. The Dope Check family, the Breaking Point fam, continues to be the best Call of Duty fam community in the scene. I don't care what they say. Top best ones, most honest ones, the realest ones. Thank you for watching. From myself, Rab, and Trey, we'll see you guys Friday for the Dope Check pre-show before the CL matches. That's 1 hour and 30 minutes before matches start. You can catch us live on YouTube for Dope Check episode 19 and a half. That's it. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Later, y'all.